A lot of folks pop in this evening. A lot of things going on. Hoping y'all all got into the shop this week and had a little fun.
Mm.
'Cause, I'm slowly. It seems slowly, but in my treatment, I am removing a lot of tools and equipment from my life. And Tommy came by the other day and took more, and we're working on getting some more stuff out. And got to look at that Lathe-Zilla, and we talked about this last week. I created a Rose engine lathe more than 20 years ago, and it worked very well. And I've created 9 like it for different folks. And looking at what's going on, it's got to go too. So what I'm going to do is produce a little video and showing you what I have and what you can have. And the deal is this: if you're interested, you come and get it. And there's no money going to change hands. I'm going to give you what I show you on the video. You get the Lathe-Zilla, you get the motors, you get the blades, you get all the toys. I'll show you all the toys. And if you're interested, you come get it. It takes a regular pickup truck, and you got to bring a little beef to load it. But it'll go to a home. Somebody will want to play with this. Somebody will get curious and just say, "Oh, I can do that." Well, I did it. I watched Brewster, and I watched Gorse Duplessis, and I watched a couple of Lindell Whites, and said, "You know what? I can build that thing." It took a long time, but it worked out. And the ones I've made are all still in use. They're all modified to the latest versions, I believe. Making chucks that fit them instead of buying expensive chucks. Think about what the chuck had to do and how you got to make it. And so I'm having a little fun looking at that right now. I went out this afternoon to look at it. We're in a cold front. It's only 86 degrees out here today. So it's like a cold front. Almost cool enough to, actually have sleeves. But I'm looking at liquidating all the tools as part of the healing process. Makes for an interesting time. Makes for a very interesting time when you.
I bet.
You remember going downtown to Sears and all the $13 you saved up to buy that framing square and things like that. But it worked for 70 years, so it's all right. I'm just having a little fun with it. Hey, we today I got some mail. I got mail done. I think I had 6 orders of stickers to go out today. And one of them, the boss took money out of the PayPal account and moved the name over. And when she does it, I don't know that it moved over. We ask you, go ahead and tell the woman she can't touch the money. Go ahead, try that. Just give it a whirl one day. But I got caught up today. I'm going to get all these stickers in the mail tomorrow morning. But we have more stickers. I've got another 1,000 or so in stock right now. And these are Worldwide Woodturner stickers. And here's our mission, folks. We got to get these on every lathe. Every lathe, every place. Now, Dane came up with this idea, but he was a little late on SWAT. We failed to push this for SWAT because we were supposed to get them on all the demo lathes at SWAT and then in all the vendors' hands at SWAT. We got them in a lot of places. We got over 1,000 put out there, but this is us. And so we still have about 1,000 in stock. And when they're gone, I'm ready to reorder. I have financial backing to buy another 2,000 or 3,000. And the way we do it, the stickers get bought and they come to me. And then on our website is my address and everything. If you're interested in getting 10 stickers mailed to you in a regular number 10 envelope for $5. That's the entire cost of it. No added freight, no operator standing by, nothing else. $5 covers it. And we'll send you a strip of 10 stickers. If you want more, just increase how much you're going to pay us. Well, let's keep it in $5 lots if you would. And we'll send you the stickers. But if you would please make sure that whatever you get, you pass on to somebody else. Get them on out there. Last week, I teased about Carl Jacobson because if you see Carl's videos online, I do. I watch Carl and Rhonda all the Robin, not Rhonda, Robin. Now I'm in trouble with Robin. I watch. You don't want to be in trouble with Rhonda. Rhonda, oh shoot. Yeah, but I tease about he's just an outlaw from the Northwest. They're good friends. They really are. And he's got a Worldwide Woodturner sticker on his lathe when he's doing demos. And so is Bert and a handful of other folks. And we all tease about these things. We're friends. We're sitting on the tailgate out in the parking lot telling lies, ribbing each other, kidding and all. If you can't do that with a friend, who can you do it with? So, so I got no problem sending these out. And I'm looking for somebody, one of you woodturners right there, to take care of the Tennessee, I got to get it right, Tennessee area woodturners. Their symposium is coming up January 26th and 27th. It's in Tennessee. I went, the last time I went there was about 10, 11 years ago. A real great gathering of folks. It's sort of like SWAT. They're growing into it. And it's a good association of friends getting together and talking wood turning. And it's a nice symposium. I'm looking for a member that will be there to give out stickers for Worldwide Woodturners. I'm looking for somebody from this club that'll go there. I'll send you whatever I can get together and put them on to you. With that deal, I want them on the demonstration lathes. I want them at all the vendors, and I want you to find us more members to join up and join in with us. Come sit on the tailgate. There's plenty of room out here, and we got room for them all. So there's Tennessee area woodturners. Now, if you know of another symposium or gathering of woodturners you think we should target, and I mean it that way, target, let us know. Tell us who and where, or if you need some for your club or your function or whatever, just, tell us how we're going to spread the word of us. This all got started 4 years ago. It was just a bunch of guys talking. It really got started. I mentioned Jacobson a minute ago, but Carl and Robin bought a firm from a very dear friend of mine, Ruth Niles, who did Ruth Niles stainless steel bottle stoppers. And she has them made by who I assume is the world, or I believe is the world's finest machinist, a guy named Paul Holmes out of St. Louis. He does her manufacturing. And I've been knowing Paul for probably 30 years or so, helping him get his business established. And I trust him. He does very good work. Look at the quality of the work that happens there. Well, Carl bought her business and just to expand. And it makes for nice times when you have friends like that, and Vince Welch and Lyle Jamison and Brown and all these other folks, when you can go around a symposium or a meeting or a gathering and know these guys and, hey, how you doing? You're friendly. I talk about SWAT being a family reunion with family you really do like. It's unique. So if you have one you'd like us to get involved in, let us know. We'll do what we can to help spread the word. That's why we have a little bit of fun.
Hey, Eddie,
Yes, sir. I'm hearing you here.
if you're going to order additional stickers, is there any way you could put worldwidewoodturners.org on them? I think you may sell a bit more.
I have to get the art done. You hear that, woodturners? I need to get the art done.
I think our webmaster can figure that one out for us.
I will do that.
You see that? Get it? The one I have says calm, but we can't use that title. But I'd like to have it done. And it would be your creation. We'll give you credit for it. Not that we got to give Dave credit for anything, really. We've got the world's finest website in the entire world dealing with
We do.
pretty much anything, including wood turning. And it's the most up-to-date and proficient one that there ever has been. So if we get the artwork done, yes, I will change it. That's a blink. That's a blink. In fact, I'm probably going to order those sometime in October. I put it in the budget for that. The budget. Yeah, love those terms.
I'll get you the update by next week.
All right. See, that's what happens here. It happens here.
Brenda's in.
Who's in?
Brenda,
Hi, guys.
Brenda,
The Band-Aid Brenda is with us. Good evening, Brenda.
I'm here.
All right. Hey, and don't forget, we've asked in the last couple of weeks about Freedom Pens. I had a gentleman call me. He's going to make us some print from Freedom Pens to give to the Marines. Private. Oh, I don't have the letter. David knows about it. He put it on the website already. Private Pepper is collecting pens for the Marines to give to it at the family day when they graduate from basic training. That's when they formally become a Marine. And they never stop being a Marine after that. But he's going to make us some pens for that. He brought up a note. He said, you know, in World War II, almost half of the nation was involved in the military. In Korea, it was down to like 37%. In Vietnam, it was a measly 11%. But today, less than 1% of the adults in America are affiliated with the military. Think about that. Your freedom is based upon the actions of 1% of this country's volunteers that go out there day after day as a volunteer to do what they do for a lot less than minimum wage. A lot of grief, a lot of anxiety. You know, they're doing it out of the belief that it's right and it's in their heart. We can send them a gift. We can thank them for that service. We can show them that we appreciate it. And you can do that. Freedom Pens are simple. Turn a pen. It can be a kit pen of any kit you choose, or it can be a Freedom Pen that's made out with a 12-cent pen kit with drilled for a big ink pen kit, or any other kind of gift you'd like to make to send on to them. They'll all be welcome. They're all used by our troops. If you live someplace else in the world, your troops count too. So let's get it on out there. Freedom, they just call it Freedom Pens. Doesn't matter what color they are, or who's holding them. They're for the people to protect their freedom worldwide. So let's push that a little bit. It's an important thing. To me, it's very important. I served, and I remember every single item I would have received from the homeland while I was away. And in 4 years, I spent 38 and a half months away from here. So, and that was all in the Sun and Fun capital of the world. So it matters. It really does, especially in today's world. So let's spin a few pens out and get them going. Dane, how are we making out on that new project we have coming up? Is we ready to release anything yet, or we got a target or anything?
new project.
Pardon?
You're gonna have to refresh my memory.
Well, you're not
Are
wearing
you
it.
talking about the t-shirts?
Oh, sorry.
Light bulb.
Yeah, there will be, yeah,
Blink.
there will be information coming out. Not next week, the following week.
Okay. As we're dealing with Congress here. We're looking
Now,
at,
there's a third party that's involved, that's actually doing the making of the shirt. And so we've got to get this person fully on board, and we'll see how things go. But
Good.
it should be a slam dunk. Real simple process to get a nice shirt done. And
Well, they have to appreciate we don't have when this thing was formed, it was formed. The general thing is we have no money, so we have no
Right.
financial commitments or obligations or anything else. So when we do this, we're doing this with volunteer efforts,
right.
and we're going to put this whole thing together, just like the stickers with volunteer efforts. So we have to put the T-shirt together again. There's no place we can buy a store full of T-shirts and you can order and we'll just mail them to you. That's not going to happen. We'll give you all the details, but that's not going to be that simple. But that's where you come in at, and you being a members, and it'd be an interesting thing. I would love to see it. I really would. We're going to pass on this Billy Bird idea of getting tattoos. That's way down the list. That's way down the list. Okay. It kind of concerns me that, never mind. All right. This is meeting number 206. We talk about this each week when we get together. This all came about. My friend Ruth Niles at Spot 4 years ago, talking to members, talking to people just like you. You know, we did. We gathered on the tailgate at SWAT, and we talked about this. We showed each other what we did. We asked the silliest questions. We wondered, how in the hell did you ever come up with that? And if you did, how did you do it? How did you hold it? How did you chuck it? How did you finish it? And when we do the gallery tonight, that's what we're going to ask you. We're going to say, Doug Miller, what's your turn today? What do you got? How big is it? What kind of finish do you have on it? That is common questions. It happens every single week. And I see Miller sitting out there tonight. He's probably in there doing the same thing, saying, I got some things I got to show you. And if you've got something,
On the show.
put it in the chat. Let us know. Why are you shaking your head, Brenda?
Because Doug ain't got nothing to show tonight because Doug ain't home.
That's right.
I've been home.
No,
No,
I'm in
he just
Atlanta,
drove
Georgia
to
tonight.
Atlanta, Georgia this morning.
I didn't see
In
the
chat.
presentation yesterday. I saw a note on it, but I didn't see it. Did you do a show yesterday?
I did. I do have some things to show, but I don't have them with me. They're
Oh.
in Kentucky. I'm in Georgia. They'll wait till next week.
All right.
That's what I figured.
Right. But these are just regular. Guess what, folks? These are not special members. None of these folks. Not a single
I'm not special.
special. No, you're not
Mm.
special.
Well, yes, you are, Brenda, but
Oh,
Now we're all heartbroken.
No,
yeah.
I didn't know Ruby was there. Ruby is special. I got to be careful about.
that's Queen Ruby.
Right. Everybody's an equal member in this organization. Everybody. So if you got something, you're there. You tell us, you're there. And you want to show something, you're there. You want to do a demonstration? Would you
We're
like
there.
to do a demonstration? Let me tell you how hard it is. You see this thing right here? You just do this. Yeah. And then you talk to Dane.
Right.
And you tell Dane, I want to do a demonstration. Yeah, that's right. You can put it in the chat if you choose. It's just that simple. Because we just
And if I can do it, anybody can do it.
And she,
Right.
Brenda, let's see the hands. Any band-aids?
No Band-Aids.
And Brenda's done 3 or 4 demos already.
Yeah.
2, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you've seen our demonstrators. Dane's on there, Ruby's on there, Doug Miller's on there. I mean, if I pop the screen up right now, I'd probably pick 206 different demonstrations that are on the screen, and these are all members of Worldwide Woodturners, and including the guy that just popped in with his bird on his shoulder, Duxbury. That's the Duxbury jig himself.
Creator of
He
the Dutch-
popped in. So if you want to be part of the group, you're in there. Come on, be in there. You want to show through from a gallery? It's coming up on the top of the hour, folks, and we normally do a little bit of gallery before we do our main demonstration, which happens in about 1 hour. Before the main demonstration, we do a safety minute with Safety Sue. And you popped in yet?
No, Sue's not going to be with us this evening. She's got a headache.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay. Well, we'll cover safety because it's an important
Yes.
part. Remember to do, we want you to come out of the shop as safe as you went in. And that's
Mhm.
really important to us. No
Matter of fact, I got
injury.
a safety tip for you tonight.
All right. Remember the deal. No bleeding on company time. I was
No
probably
personal time.
I was 9 to 10 years old, and I was being quartered with my great aunt, and my mother was in a hospital with bad back, and we had 5 kids, and my dad had to quarter us all off to different places to get us taken care of because Dad can't miss work. Well, I got sent to my Aunt Etty, and there was a mill shop about 3 doors down that made furniture church pews and pedestals and stuff, all church work. And I just had to go see what was going on. That was my very first paid job, and I wasn't 10 years old. And I remember going in the door, they were doing a sticking machine, and I was catching pieces coming out of the sticking machine and put them in a pile. And the man said, "You want to help? Yeah. Put this in that pile and that in that pile." And, and I did it all day long for him. But I remember the sign on the wall, hand painted on the wall, said, "No bleeding on company time." and it was just, it stuck right there, with no bleeding on company time. And he used to, I had splinters, and he'd say, "If you can't pull them out with your teeth, then we got a problem." And that was, and that was in the days when, a 10-year-old kid could go work in a cabinet shop. And it was my first job. When my dad came to get me in about 4 or 5 days, I had earned $4 in those 4 or 5 days. I was on the top of the hill. I had $4. It was all in quarters, $4. But you got to get a start someplace. What I want to ask all of you folks bringing up the kids today, where are you kids making their $4 at? Get them out there, get them practicing. I'm seeing a few things online where we bring those kids into the shop and get them doing some things, turn a few bowls. My oldest daughter's upset that she didn't get my lathe. No problem. I got another one in the warehouse. She's probably going to get that one. All right, we got some people that say they have to bring the show for gallery tonight. You want to go to Canada? We can go to Canada. You want to go to
Yeah,
Canada?
we can go to Canada. Let's
You
go to
want to go to
Wednesday.
Canada? Let's go to Canada.
Hey, Ruby.
There she is,
In person too.
live and direct.
Okay, first thing I did was I took a 1/4-inch piece of plywood and I turned it on the lathe. And I created the black line around here. And because I used an ink, the ink flew out like that on all the way around. And so it's the same on both sides. And then what I did was cut it in half, and I just glued it to another piece of plywood. So you could use this for a letter holder or napkin holder or something like that.
I quickly thought napkins.
And the dots around here, I just used the back end of a paintbrush, used the tail end, dipped it in the paint and just dotted, literally put the dots on that way.
Oh,
So that's something else you could try out. And then Doug already saw this. I've been playing with these. The first one I made, I painted him silver to hold a pen. So
wow.
my knight in shining armor, and he's on a shield.
What a cute idea.
Better
And
than those
Cool.
groups that they make.
I decided I didn't like it painted. So I'm in the process of making another one just out of plywood. And I just cut them out with my scroll saw. And then that way, if you have to have some pens to display, it's a unique way of displaying them.
Right.
And it gets attention to them. I mean, you gotta stop, you gotta get their attention. You just can't put them out there.
Yeah.
I like the feather on top of the helmet.
This up here. Yeah,
That's really good.
what you could do is you could drill a hole and put something else up there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and make
Like a
it more
ponytail?
realistic.
Hey,
That's cool.
So there's a couple ideas of things you could make for gifts.
hey, Ruby.
Yes?
Go ahead.
Can you see them?
No.
Can you see them?
Who is this?
No, I'm sorry, L. Dawson. I'm sorry.
I got you, Al. Hold on. There
Oh,
we go.
yeah, you've
Oh,
been
look
busy.
at that.
And wild, all right.
Around. I
Oh.
I watch you a lot of times, and I see what you have back on your right shoulder. And I
Yes.
think every neighbor has one. I missed the postman. But
Good job, Al.
Now, if you want to give them hair, what I did with these was I glued moss on top. And the other thing is you could turn a Christmas Santa hat
right.
and you could glue that on top of yours, and then you'll be ready for the Christmas season.
It's
Okay?
such a cool idea. Happy for sharing. Thank you.
The fine
You're
wispy
welcome.
shavings work good.
What's that?
The fine wispy shavings off the lathe work good for hair too.
Right.
Yes, they do.
Right. I
Yeah, you can practice your
think I
skin
played.
work and get some. Oh, those came up nice, Albert.
Yeah. But yeah, well, just playing around.
Can I see that pencil holder again? The knight in shining armor. Yeah, him. I'm trying to draw it.
The screen capture.
Yeah, do that.
I don't know how to do that. That don't work at my house.
Take your cell phone and take a picture.
That I might be able to do.
Ruby, do you have those on?
I took one for you, Linda. I'll text it to you.
Actually, if you go
All right.
online to Steve Good, he's a scroller, and the pattern is his.
Okay.
Yeah. That's cool.
Very
Love it.
good.
Okay?
All right. Thanks,
Yes.
Ruby. I'll send that picture to Brenda here in a minute. All
Thank you,
right,
dear.
Thank you, Dane.
Oh, yeah, you're quite welcome. Let's see. There's
Thank
Sandy.
you, Ruby. Thank you.
Hey, Sandy.
Oh, hi. I'm
How are
sitting here
you?
waiting for somebody to come. I'm just getting back into turning. I think you guys knew I hadn't been able to turn, I think, since mid-May. So I started last week. I made some tops, and then you talked about a platter, so I made a platter.
Oh, I like the art.
Oh, love the fish.
Yeah, so I could do that kind of work, but I was real happy that I actually could turn a platter, so that worked out well for
That's
me.
beautiful. I
Yeah,
like
nice,
that.
Sandy.
Oh, thanks. So
Yes.
that's my first piece.
That's
It-
great.
Yeah, so anyway, I'm really
No, it
excited.
felt good.
First piece of 2023.
So what kind of colors did you use there? How did you do that?
I actually, they're called, let me see, I think I'm in my shop for a change, so I can actually bend over and pick them up. They're, believe it or not, they're watercolors, and they're Arteza, and you just kind of, they're filled pens, and you just continue to go over it until you get the darkness or the lightness that you want. That way it's kind of easier to shadow and things like that. And it's a box of 48. And they got real fine tips. So they work really, really well for painting. So this is just one. It comes with like 5 of these in the box.
Do you do that and then finish it after that? Or do you put that
Yes.
on? Okay.
Yeah, I did. I colored it and I left it overnight. I burned it, obviously. I drew it and I burned it and shaded it and did a lot of shading with the burner and drew the fish and messed around with those. And then I colored it and I left it overnight and came back the next day, put some sanding sealer over top of it. And that went okay. And then I just put 1 coat of poly and sanded it back because I didn't want it too shiny.
That's good. Nothing
Great.
ran.
Pardon?
I said, so it didn't run. So that's
No,
good.
it didn't run at all. I left it overnight and I very carefully, when I put the sanding sealer, and I didn't do the wipe on, I did that spray on. It's actually like it's called Fixative, which is kind of seals the color in to kind of keep them from running into one another.
I'll tell you, really pretty for sure.
Okay, thanks guys. I'm just happy to be turning again.
I'm glad to see you back again,
Great.
Sandy.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to North Carolina. Hey, Joaquin.
Howdy. So this was a little crotch piece of red oak that was very dry, that was sitting on my shelf, and I just picked it up Saturday morning and said, you know, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I really want to make something out of this little piece of wood. I had no idea that we had this beautiful spalting here, and we also have just an incredible patch of spalt here. You can see the 2 piths on this side, and then there's the primary. It actually kind of splits down here is where the main pith is, so it really kind of blows up out here, and a little bit of an inclusion. And then I turned this live on TikTok, and I had a nice audience for. It took me over 4 hours. It took me quite a bit of time to get this thing to turn. And at one point, one of the people following, who's a new turner, said, "Hey, are you going to fill the cracks?" And I originally was going to leave it cracked, but he got me thinking, and I was thinking, you know, it would be cool if I had some brass shavings put in there. I don't have any brass shavings, but I do have mica powder, and so I was originally trying to mix mica powder, shavings, and CA glue, and that set up almost immediately because the humidity is insane. So I thought, well, why not give that UV resin a crack? So ultimately, first I just mixed the resin and the mica and poured it in and used the light, and it did pretty good. By the time I got over here, I was developing a little bit of a different technique, and it worked really well. So what I did was, just with the little, the tip of the resin, is I put resin in first, hit it with the light for about 30 seconds to firm it up so it was no longer dripping. Then I just sprinkled a little mica powder in and put another coat of resin over the top of it, and then cured it. And that worked really, really well. And the mica did not interfere with the curing of the resin. And so just working on a new technique, trying different ways to see how that resin will work. And that actually worked very, very well. And the really cool thing is, if you have a bright enough little LED and you stick it in here, the resin glows.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And that,
Yeah,
so
it
this
came
was
out
just-
well
That's
with it.
good.
This just,
That's
and
good.
this thing fought me the entire way because there is no real
bet.
single grain direction. It jumped out while I was roughing it. It really was it was a trip, but we got her done.
What'd you use to hollow it with?
I ended up having to settle for carbide.
Yeah,
I just, nothing else. It was so dense. These areas here, especially between the piths are
yeah,
so
to keep
dense
this
with
alternating.
this red oak. I mean, it's just as hard as nails. So the only thing that would really eat it was carbide.
Yeah, well, and especially with the alternating grain there.
Yeah,
Would've been-
there's no one grain.
would've been
It's
a
like a
bear.
burl. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no single grain direction. But it has a couple cool features you can see through here. And
Yeah.
you can actually see through this like here. It's less than a quarter of an inch thick. I don't know if I want to say it's as thin as 3/16, but it's less than a quarter of an inch thick. I managed to hold it together. It was touch and go for a while,
Oh, good
but
job.
I really,
Very nice.
really, really couldn't be happier just with the shape and that this little piece talked to me the whole time. It argued, but we came to an agreement. I couldn't be happier with it.
Sure is
That's
nice.
cool.
All right, thank you.
Well done.
Let's see.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Go
that's good.
to
I get,
go to Lakewood and see how Grandpa's doing.
Oh, Grandpa, yeah.
Grandpa again.
Well, I used my shop day this week for a chainsawing. So I didn't get in to turn anything. I got a bunch of new blanks, but no turning. But since we're talking about platters and stuff for the month of September, yeah, started off with something very plain. And it weighs about 1.5 ounces. It's birch, about 11 inches.
Eddie.
And then I got a little fancier with some walnut.
I like that shape.
Yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
love
Yeah,
it.
it's one of my faves. And then I've shown this before, but this sort of tops it off as far as I'm concerned about, because that
Mhm.
is a natural inclusion. And it just blows
That's
my
cool.
mind. And I'm thrilled that it didn't crack because I did it right green within a day or two of the tree being cut. And you can see the inclusion goes straight through. It's not quite as profound there, but
That's beautiful.
Piece.
so that's my contribution to platters. And I
There
was
we
looking
go.
around and something else, sort of a legacy piece. I did this almost 5 years ago. And it's really held up well. It's my favorite serving bowl. Yeah, give me
Wow.
my initials straight. But yeah, it's cherry and just it gets almost everyday use, but not quite.
Wow, Greg, you have a great finish on it.
Nice.
Very
Nice.
nice, lovely.
What kind of
What
finish is that?
Did you use?
That's the only thing I knew at the time because I was just beginning, and it's just shellac. It's got like 3 or 4 coats on it.
Nice.
Cut up nicely.
Oh,
Good
thanks.
looking piece of cherry, Dave.
Yeah, and it's getting prettier by the day or by the year,
Oh,
I
yeah.
should say. That's it for
job.
me.
All right, thanks for sharing. Good job on that platter too, being able to keep that together and keep that cross inclusion in there.
Oh, I'm thrilled about it.
I bet. Should be. Put that in your I'm not getting rid of stash.
Oh, it's been there, yeah. No,
Right
my
on.
wife will let me let go of that.
Yeah. Good job. All right, let's go to Terry. Hey Terry.
Yeah, how you doing?
Good.
Well, I tried to get on last week and we were a little busy. You got me up there good. And last week I played with some plywood. And this is one that I did a while back showing some of what I did. I don't know, a couple years ago, I did a whole bunch of laminated plywood pieces. Most of them were Beads of Courage boxes that I've given away. But I got back into it a little bit and I was looking through one of the books I got and I saw where somebody had used a plywood or a laminate and turned it endways, the end side of it, to make a bowl. And this is what I did with it.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
it didn't come out too bad. It's about 6 inches in diameter and about 6 inches tall.
That
But when
is
I did it,
awesome.
I was really concerned about it because trying to cut into the end grain, and I was using plywood, and I probably should have had a better grade of plywood. I think the one in the book may have been laminated veneer instead of plywood. The problem with the plywood is every once in a while you can see it's got kind of not a real good seam in it. Well, that's a plywood board that goes all the way through. So if it's on that side, it's on this side. And I dropped this thing about a foot onto the table and it cracked. And I was afraid of that, but it glued back together okay, and you can't tell because it's all glued up anyway. But it kind of came out all right. But I'm kind of in an idea that I made another one and it blew up. I glued it back together and it blew up again. And I glued it back together again and I got it turned, but I don't think I'll ever be able to do anything with them except just show them in my house. I wouldn't dare want to sell them or anything because they're too fragile the way the plywood is. I got some plywood that doesn't have any voids in it, but it's not very pretty. It's kind of bland. I don't know if I could do anything with that or not. And then kind of moving the iPad around here a little bit. And after I got done with that, back 6 months ago, I got into a bunch of big pecan. And I turned a lot of it just to get it turned so that it wouldn't all check. It started cracking and doing what wood does when you got a hole. So I kind of rough turned it into what I thought I might have. So after I did that, this week I pulled them out of the storage block, and that's what I got.
Oh, wow.
They're about, probably 20 inches tall, and most of the bowls are right around a foot or a little more over. I put Minwax tongue oil on them, and I'm not sure I like it. It's a little too shiny for what I'm thinking. These form is quite rustic, and the high sheen, I'm not sure goes with it very well. As you can see, I don't have them completely finished, and the tops they got a spigot on them and they're just stuck together. I didn't glue them because I'm not sure I'm going to leave the finish, but they're kind of pretty. And that one's not focusing very well, but you can kind of see the inside of all three of them, and they're pretty nice shape. And they're kind of, like I said, they're probably about 20 inches tall. And I've made probably 12 of these, and I only have one of the original 12 left. And I don't sell stuff normally, but I've been putting them in a gallery that's been selling them for a pretty good price, and I was really surprised. But I think with the big pedestals, they just steal the show when you walk in the door. You put them somewhere in a gallery and you can't miss them. I took one of the bowls about that size and set it on the table at the same gallery, and two of the pedestal ones sold for $350, $400, and the bowl was just as nice, and it sat on the table for 6 months and never sold. And it was pretty much the same thing, just not on a pedestal, just on a regular base. So I've been playing with them a little bit. They're kind of fun. The bottoms, I've changed the bottom 2 or 3 times, trying to get a different design, but I never seem to like them. I've turned them around and tried to turn them and looked through the books to get different designs. And I got like 5 of them out there, and I don't like any of them. But anyway, enough about that. I just thought I'd like to show them to you. And
it's brilliant work.
Glad to see everybody back.
Look good, Terry.
Those are beautiful.
A book I would
That's what I
recommend.
got.
Nice, Terry.
A book on forms. It's called Classic Forms from Antiquity. I think that would be beneficial in giving you some ideas and break out of the normal mold on making pedestals for your bowls. You'd be interested in that.
Yeah, maybe. I just tried a bunch of different things, and they seem to be, like I say, I've made some shorter ones, and I've actually turned some on them just with regular pedestal bowls. But I don't know, the competition is hard. And if you go into a gallery with a lot of work, especially like an art center, there's a lot of work there, and it's a little hard to be acknowledged, you know, to give
Right.
attention to your piece. If it's real
Yeah.
small, they tend to stick it on the bottom shelf in the back, you know?
Right.
So, but anyway, it was fun. It gave me something to do, kept me off the couch.
That gave me a
Well,
great idea. My angled bowl, but with the live edge on a pedestal. Now I've got to play with that. That might be something real interesting to make happen.
Yeah, it's real fun. When you start, you could, what I started with before was some smaller ones, and I cut put the whole log on with the pith in the middle sideways, and put the elongated bowl on the top, and turned a small pedestal on the bottom, all turned one piece. And I made several of those, and they came out pretty nice.
Hey,
If you
Terry,
see what I
I'll
mean.
take some pictures. I'll take out of the pedestal section, and I'll text to you
Okay.
in the next few days.
And
Give you some ideas.
yeah, always looking for ideas. The
Definitely.
sad thing about it is we were planning all week on taking a mesquite tree down. Supposed to do it tomorrow. The tree man was going to take it down. We were supposed to meet him and get all the big wood he didn't want. He was going to bring the chipper for the brush. And we checked into it today, and his crew wasn't doing anything yesterday, so he sent them out there, and they took it down and chopped it all up and hauled it off. Big mesquite tree, about 24 inches in diameter, big tall one. We didn't get a piece of it. I was crying.
Yeah.
I bet. Yeah, just to be chipped away.
Yep, that's how it happens.
Yeah.
Water under the bridge.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Well, thanks for sharing, Terry.
Okay,
Hey, Eddie,
guys.
let's go back to you.
Me, okay. I was still looking
It
at.
happened.
Wasn't happening? Okay. It happens. Hey, folks, we're getting together. We got a good demonstration coming up tonight. We're going to talk a little safety in a little while. I think Sue won't be with us or isn't with us this evening, but Band-Aids Brenda is going to step in and fill the gap tonight with some ideas, some safety ideas. And we do this thing every week. We cover a few little bullet points on safety, things that we think you should know about and be aware of, because going into the shop and having a good time, I mean, look across the screen. There's not a lot of children watching this and playing in this show. We're all grown adults, and most of us are grown adults, and we don't want to go out and get hurt. You know, a single injury to the hand may take you out of the shop or keep you out of the shop, and we don't want it to happen. So let's kind of abide by the rules and not be heroes. So we still do gallery each week. And if you got something to show, put it in the chat. We'll call on you. Once call on you, have your piece available. And when you hear us introduce you, Dan will introduce you. Start talking. He's got to look at a screen of about 80 folks and pick out the little blinking yellow signal, and so he can find where you're talking at and call upon you. And if you've got a problem or something to share, you can also do that through the chat. The chat's wide open. And I say wide open. See, we're not sponsored. We do a lot of dating, but we're not married. Okay?
Right.
We're not locked into anybody. So we're kind of freebie here. Our chat is really freebie. So if you have an IRD coming up, like Scott Hampton does, or Cade Boger does, and a lot of these folks do these demonstrations, they can advertise them on our chat. It's welcome. If you have an event coming up that's even dealing with your club that you'd like folks to be part of, you can put that in the chat. If you have a meeting that your club records your meeting and it is posted on your club's website, you can put that information in the chat. The chat is there for everybody, and it is there to share information dealing with what we do right here. And it's wide open. I really love when I can hear of a club that not only does the AV when they do their club presentation in different cameras, etc., for the audience, which is a real showstopper when you have it done right. We're going to record it and save the recording for members that are just can't come to the meetings, can't make it for one reason or another. And they make those meetings available. Can you make those meetings available for me and you? Can they? I mean, why can't we see them? There's no secrets in this world, and we don't want them to be that way. So if your club has those videos, can you share them with us? Can you tell us how to get them? It's all information, unless you really do know there are secrets. That's all we want. And that's why we have the world's greatest website dealing with them. Because all those little secrets, all those little tips, all those little ideas, Dave Rhodes is terrible about this. He sees an idea or a tip or a trick, he'll put it on our website quickly, real quick. I mean, the picture of the little thing that we saw Ruby pop up a little while ago, the little thing holding up an ink pen. I like that idea. If I was doing markets again, I would have made those little statues and had my grandkids paint them out and put them on a table with a pen in them. Why? Because you have to get them to stop. You have to get them to put the brakes on and look at your work. And unique is what makes them look at your work. And if it's on a little holder like that, that just, oh, look how cool that is. You put the brakes on, then sell them. First thing you gotta do is slap them upside the head, get their attention, right? Well, this is how you do it. I worked a whole weekend building a carousel to show off wine bottle stoppers a long time ago, 15, 20 years ago. And I had a little quarter or 8th to 16th horsepower, 12 volt motor on there that make it move very slowly. And that stopped them all day long because it caught the light and it moved. And I kept refilling it and changing out the stoppers. But once I had them put the brakes on and say, oh, wow, look at that. Then I had them. So if you go into these fairs, these festivals, think about that little thing that Ruby showed a little while ago. You have to come up with a stop. You have to come up with a catch. You want another one? Turn a whole bunch of little finger tops. No magic. And then turn a tray that's got a raised lip on it and put it out there and put those tops in it. Let the kids play with those tops. The kids put the brakes on. The folks got to put the brakes on too. And kids have a blast with the little finger tops. I knew a guy, Larry Zara, that did one in Covington, Louisiana years ago. And he had a whole box full of those little tops he spun out, and he paid his rent just by selling those tops. He made his money on selling his other work. But he had a crowd of people around him all afternoon while I was there with him, the kids looking at the spinning the tops. And while the kids were having fun with the tops, he was showing the folks the bowl and the platter and the plates and the ornaments and things like that, because you got to put the brakes on. So you see, we come up with these little ideas, we throw them out to you, and it's worth it for you to pay attention to them. But you know what? You have them too. You have those same ideas, and that's why we come to you, because normally when we open that door, trouble comes in. And I don't want to say Jim Duxbury brings in a lot of trouble, but it has happened here. We have just kind of cracked the door a little bit, and all of a sudden, you know what? And so if you've got something, you know what? Let's all share it. So if you've got something to chat about tonight, come on, jump in here and get on board. This is Worldwide Wood. It's about 6:30 Central Time. We run formally until 9 o'clock. We have a demonstration coming up tonight, and we'll do more gallery in a few moments. What do we have up right now, Dane?
Well, at the moment, we don't have anyone for gallery, but I got a feeling Mr. Duxbury's got something.
Oh, well, you see, I told you. You open the door, and it'll come.
No, I know. I tried, but no, we've been making pens today. I don't know how many pens and whatever else. We're doing a demo this weekend. So, but I have a remark for Terry. I've done dozens of galleries and whatever, and you may not like one of the things that keyed me on this is he said, "This is too glossy. I don't like it." And it may make you sick. But I'll tell you, you'll sell 10 to 1 in glossy, whether you like it or not. I've done kaleidoscopes. I've had 6 or 8 of them laying on a table. Put one glossy one in the middle, and you'll sell that 10 to 1. Okay, just something I learned the hard way.
Yeah,
People
I
walk
found the
in the
same
gallery
thing.
and look straight at the glossy one and say, "Oh, look at that." And I'll be damned. Anyway.
I've had people tell me, they look like they're plastic, but you looked. The key is you looked. And, my daddy was an awesome salesman. And he said, first thing you have to do is put the brakes on. First thing. And if you
I know
catch
my
your eye,
shiny cells and my matte sateen finishes, they are always the last ones, or they're boxed up and brought back and then made to be shiny for later.
You got it.
Yep.
One of my biggest frustrations is wood turners. We want a certain thing. We look for a certain thing. We look for that satin gloss where you still feel and see the grain, and people want something that pops and shines and is distracting. And here we are working and striving to create this richness and this lushness in the finish, and people will reach for the one that's covered in epoxy every time.
Well, now there's a way to make a gloss finish look good so that you can see the grain and it doesn't look plastic, and that's to be distinguished between encasing it in epoxy, because you can do that, and the two are quite different. So that at any point, whether you're doing a gloss or a satin or a semi-gloss finish, they all take a lot of work to get them just right. I mean, a couple of coats of sanding sealer might do for something simple like a snowman or something like that. But, if you're going for the high gloss gallery level finish without the plastic look, then it takes 14 to 20 coats and a lot of sanding between coats and so on, or not a lot of sanding between coats, but sanding between coats.
Yeah.
So.
But you're talking gallery. Gallery and public are two different things.
Well, you're right, and there's an entertaining thing about that, because like I've made boxes and stuff like that, and done demos, and people say, "Well, how thin do you make it, and do you make them tight?" And the bottom line is if you're making a tight box, you're making it for yourself and other wood turners. If you're making it for the public, you make it loose so the lid comes off easily.
That's right. That's right. Otherwise, they pick it up and say, "Who wants this?" I can't get the lid off it.
Exactly.
I've had them break the finial off trying to get it open wrong.
That's right.
Or have a screw top instead of a snap top or whatever.
My favorite ones are the ones that are not quite as dry as I think they should be, and they warp a little bit. So you put the lid on one way and it's loose, and you turn it a quarter turn and it's all locked.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even worse is when you have your loose cap, got your nice finial on there, and somebody picks it up, they don't hold on to the cap and they dump it over and breaks the finial.
That's right. Or if you make a bud vase and put a vial in the middle, they turn it over to see the bottom, and you carry about 6 extra vials if you sell one of those things.
Right. Yeah, all kinds out there. All right, let's see. We got a couple galleries that just popped in. Let's go to.
Oh
hey,
no!
George.
Uh-oh.
Come on down. Hello.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
Doing good, doing good.
You?
Doing good. Actually, we've been doing some traveling and getting ready to go again. But in between times, we're in the garage and the wood shop and working. And this here is okay, get it back there. It's a autumn blaze maple bowl that I turned, and get it around here. And my wife Trish, she does the laser engraving on the bottom because I don't even know how to figure light burn out. But anyway, but this is finished. It came out, I think, pretty nice. It came out. I used Parfix 40 Parfix on
3408.
That's pretty. 3408. And then I remember Dane, you working with the Minwax tongue oil finish. So I'm trying to. So I did that on the inside, trying to get the same shine you did, and I'm not there yet, but at least I'm working it.
Looking good.
Almost
looking good.
there.
Yeah, that's looking good, Dave.
Looks good.
Just keep
Yeah,
doing
actually,
that process.
Yeah,
shine
it is.
more
It is.
durable.
It's a process, and like you say, it's I decided to try 2 different finishes, one inside, one out, just to see how it would look. And so
Sure.
I'm gonna spend a little more time on the tongue oil finish and trying to do that because I'm kind of liking that.
Yes. And then so if you have a 3408 on the outside, should you not like the appearance of the 3408 compared to the tongue oil, you can go over to 3408 with the tongue oil as well.
Ah, that's good
Yep.
to know.
So you have that option there.
Okay, well, I appreciate that.
You bet.
Well, that's what I have. I just wanted to share it with you guys.
So
Beautiful, Dave. Thank
which
you.
finish is on the inside?
It's the
Tongue oil.
tongue oil, a polymerized tongue oil,
Okay.
and buffed up with a clean cloth.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not easy to do. That's why a lot of people don't do it. Very nice.
It's I have a few trial and errors out in the wood shop that I look at it and say, huh, I think that's kindling for the fireplace. So anyway, that's all I have.
Okay. Thanks, Dave.
You bet. Thank you.
All right. Let's go. Let's see. I wonder if this is going to be a 1-segment bowl or a multi-segment bowl. Ray, you still on?
I'm still here.
There we are.
Have you got me?
I got you.
Well,
sir.
it's a holy bowl. It's
Uh-oh.
got holes. It's a vase, in fact.
Okay.
Nice.
Whoa. That's
Beautiful.
Pretty, Ray. Looks good.
Very nice.
That's bloodwood and holly.
Nice.
It's
Wow.
about 11 inches tall, 7 inches wide, and about 300 segments in it, including the bottom, which is segmented.
beautiful.
Never get things right.
Really pretty.
Beautiful work.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take it up to Loveland, Colorado this coming week or 2 weeks from now and put it in the show up there. And I've got a couple other bowls I'm going to exhibit. So,
Say Ray,
Yeah.
how long, just approximately how long of a process, kind of like days and hours does it take to do something like that?
oh gosh, I'm not sure. Here lately, I've got so many other projects going. I bought a new laser, so I'm trying to learn that. And I started this about 3 weeks ago and just finished it yesterday. So,
Okay.
and this is a salvage bull. I did break it. The first one I've broken turning the inside down here in the bottom. Well, I had it on a steady rest because it's fairly long and it was difficult to cut. And I heard a pop and it broke a series of down here, and I had to clean up the joints and glue it back together and salvage it. But here it is. It came out pretty good.
Yeah, it sure did.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
it looks
pretty.
nice.
And it's glossy.
It's,
Yes.
it's
Yeah,
beautiful.
that's way.
As it needs
Very
to be.
nice.
I would say better than pretty good.
So what's your finish?
Thank you very much. That's all I got for this evening.
What's the finish?
Outfit.
Greg?
The finish is just spray lacquer.
Yeah.
It's so easy with the openings and stuff. You can't use a rub on or
Yeah, you have to spray them.
you have to spray it. There's just no way you can keep these holes clean any other way.
Right.
It looks
Yeah,
good.
great job. Once
Very
again,
nice.
like all in
Thank you.
segmented pieces. Outstanding. All right, Eddie, let's go. Let's come back to you and probably.
Well, that is one beautiful piece. Oh man, that'll stop traffic. That will. That's really nice. And we're seeing some beautiful work tonight, folks. You got something to show. Get up here and remember, this is the club that has a no butt guarantee. There's not a way in the world we're going to look at your piece and say, I like that butt. The butt can't come out. Nope. I like that. That's the extent of it. We're not critics. We won't permit critics. It won't happen. We're just here to see your work and see what you do and how you do it. And like I said when we started out this evening, the questions come up is, how big is it? What kind of wood is it? What is it? And what kind of finish do you have on it? Because that's what we all ask every single time we gather. And so if you got something like that, and the techniques, and see, Ray said he had to save that one. It snapped and he had to put it back together. That's a rescue project.
All right.
I'm sorry. He had to rescue that project. So if you have something like that, we call it a Tim Hatch rescue because Tim Hatch came up with this thing. You know, rescuing a project a lot of times can be an interesting part of the project that we all experience it, but do we acknowledge it? I mean, if you have something blow up, and we've seen them on our Facebook page in the last week or so where pieces exploded, came back. I don't drop the name, I might be wrong, but I thought it was maybe Ron Todd put one back together that it blew up. And he put it all back together, then he accented the cracks and all. Came out to be a gorgeous piece, really nice. So that's what I call a rescue squad. When you can figure out how to put this stuff back together again, save the piece, don't put it in the burn pile, don't light fire. It's it's the challenge is on you. You know, what can you do to this? How can you hold it? How can you turn it? How can you get it safe again? And that's why we talk here every Wednesday evening. Last week we had somebody, and maybe it was 2 weeks ago, runs together about how to hold eggs and orbs and things. And I found the video online, but I can't copy it because it's got a license. Using PVC parts. So I went to the hardware the other day and I brought a couple of eggs that I turned and I found PVC couplers. They go for regular white PVCC and some other type of plastic pipe. Great. Ace Hardware has got all these different varieties. And I could find couplers that would couple over the eggs where I could put some slits in the couplers and create a glue block that will fit in there and then put a screw clamp on it to pull down and to play with on holding. Because if you can hold it, you can turn it. And I got to look at that padding it. And what I can't find around the house, if I wanted to build one, was a jam chuck. I would be looking for an old mouse pad. Remember those things we first bought our computers? They had this little pad, you put that little thing on and roll it around and all that. Well, we don't have that anymore. Now it's a finger or a drawbar or a square or whatever.
Yoga pad.
Yeah, yoga pad. Yeah. Mouse pads work really great for that. When I was at Lowe's, they used to sell a liner for the tool cabinet. Like put your wrenches and all in these to keep them from sliding all around. And it was just about the same thickness as the mouse pad. And I need to go look for that again. The whole thing changed. They went to Craftsman Tools, and the whole tool thing's kind of geared towards only Craftsman or whatever. But it's funny how you can find those things from one world and carry one into another. So if you come up with something like that, it's an idea we believe Duxbury will come up with one day and show us is how to take these things, these pads, these shelf liners, the little cushion things. I had a Ford Explorer with a shiny dashboard, and I had a roll of that that I lay out. It was matte to keep the light from flashing off the dashboard. It would drive me crazy. So, and I cut it up to make holding pads out of it. That's you got to do when you got to do when you got to turn something.
Eddie,
Hey.
I've got something I can show you related to that.
I'm all ready for you. What you got?
Okay, if you highlight me.
I'm trying to get there.
I was making some eggs that were the size of real eggs.
I got it ready.
So to do those, what I did was I just took some pipes that were pretty close to the right size. I made a little wooden bottom that could be held with your chuck in here. And I attached to a bearing, I attached this pipe that goes out to my vacuum chuck. And now once I turn the eggs between centers, they'll hold right in there against the vacuum. And okay, like that. And then you can turn the ends off them quite easily.
And there's still a little bit of give to where you can fine tune the setting of them to, you know.
And if you do eggs or spears that are a little bigger than real size, the one-way vacuum chuck, the smallest one, that will hold them quite nicely.
It's almost like cheating, but I love my vacuum truck for just that. I mean,
I do too.
And PVC and the vacuum truck, they're the best of friends. It used to drive my wife crazy. We go to the hardware store and I stand there in the PVC outlet. What are we fixing? Plumbing. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You know, plumbing, you know. And if you're snapping parts together to go from 2-inch down to 1.25 inch or something, because if you do medallions, and we've seen those in depth medallions, we have some great artwork shown of folks that turn the little medallions to give away to the kids for the holidays. The best way to hold them, well, you can turn them from scratch on a vacuum chuck. Vacuum chuck, bring your center up with the dead man on it or a soft touch to push up against that face of that, and you could shape it and pull your tailstock away. Do it. You can move it off center, put lines across it. I mean, things that you can do with an off center chuck, you can do with a vacuum if you have the right adaptability of. When you come to that end, you have to have something soft. What Ruby just showed you had a soft plate on it, which could have been a.
Yeah, that's just fun foam that you can pick up at Walmart or Michael's or Hobby Lobby.
Yeah, same thing. And just and it comes in different thicknesses, but don't go for the real porous because air will pull through it. You don't want that to happen. And it makes for interesting. And how do you get this? It's so interchangeable, and it's a loose. Can you say a loose fit? It's not a rock solid fit. So if you're doing them in day and you're doing a little thing that's about, that big, dimension, all right. And you're holding on and you want to do some light sanding on it, put a light finish on it. That's all you really need. I mean, what would you need a heavy duty chuck for to hold that, especially to put a finish on? So play with it a little bit. And I like doing that better than doing it with double stick tape. Double stick tape can be an enemy sometimes when you're doing finishes. The tape doesn't understand what a finish is. So, the vacuum chucks do. And as I was showing Tommy the other day, is what do we use for a vacuum chuck? I have a $69 Harbor Freight, yes, Harbor Freight, vacuum thing for doing air conditioning. And it pulls enough to draw it on my one way to pull a bowl. And if I can get to 30 ounces, and I say pounds, if I can get to 30 ounces, that's maximum draw on that thing. I can't pull the bowl off that chuck if I've got to set it up that way. You can't, and I've collapsed platters because I had the opening too big and the platter will cave in. So you want to, if they can hold, they can hold. They're really locked tight. So play around with it a little bit, but make sure you test it. You get out of the line of fire a little bit, get off on the side, because when it comes loose, the rule is it's going to hit you right here. So come off on the side a little bit before you crank it all up. Remind you again that we have club stickers still available, folks. That's these. They come in a roll. Well, 5. We sell them 10 at a time, and it's $5 for 10. You want to order them on the front page of the world's greatest website, worldwidewoodturners.org. There's information on how to buy them. It tells you how you can send me a check, but also you can just do it by PayPal, and I'll mail them out to you. I got 4 and I got 3, so there'll be 7 packages going out tomorrow morning. And this is the first time the club has attempted to do something like make a purchase and sell it off through memberships. Voted, yes, we'll go there and we'll go there. And we're going to talk a bit about T-shirts with the club logo on it. And it will say worldwidewoodturners.org. And thanks to the world's greatest webmaster, Dave Rose, our next stickers will say worldwidewoodturners.org. Because when you ask for it here, you get it pretty quick. And I'm still looking for somebody from Tennessee area woodturners. Somebody will be at the exhibition in January of 24 to pass out stickers and handle it. Remember we talked for last week about how much fun was had at SWAT with everybody getting together, had our own little table. I mean, Duxbury did signs for the table. They overtook the convention. I mean, that was it. Just it looked like a madman. We came in, set up house. It was, they weren't prepared for what we can do, and Worldwide Woodturners came in. We're going to do the same thing up at Tennessee area Woodturners. So if you want to be part of that project, we'll recruit you right now. Jump on board. It's what we do. And somebody tonight, I think the grandpa, popped in here and showed us that he'd made a couple of platters because our shared gallery this month was going to be platters. Dave Kingsley pulled out some things that he spent a couple of days with the chainsaw. When he isn't watching his grandson, he only gets chopped down. Well, he only gets chopped down when he's not watching his grandson. That's not how that works. But he cut up some logs, got them things together. But he had some platters, and he had a really nice bowl earlier, 4 or 5 years ago. Really nice. And we'd like to see those things, especially if you've got a piece that hits home. If you got something you turn. I did a bowl about 20 years ago that a 9x9 napkin, that's the cheap napkins you get at Walmart, cloth paper napkins to go on a kitchen table. I turned a bowl, just those napkins fit in perfectly. And it was out a piece of black gum. And it was the first time I turned a wet piece of black gum. it turned out like plastic. Really, I took one time, I dried it, I put it in a bag of kitty litter to pull the moisture out, rapidly pull the moisture out, so I could return it the second day. I scraped it to a finish, got it down, lined it all up. I put it on the kitchen table at my mother-in-law's house and put the napkins in it. She immediately took a look at it and said, "That's not wood, that's plastic." And, it's wood. Don't get a dago wrong. That's wood. And so they had, they're all playing with it, looking at it and all. And one spot on the bottom wasn't finished. And they got to see that it was black gum and it was wood. That piece stopped the crowd. And I love it. It's still over there in the gallery. That isn't going anywhere. That's one of those ones like Terry said, locked in here. It ain't leaving. Dig at that bowl that he said, your wife won't give it away. That's one right there. I'll search it for you. Get out of the house if you think you're getting that bowl. That platter. Those are the kinds of things we want to see. We want to see you go to your stash, your gallery, your purse, and come out with those pieces that you've turned. And you're going to say, I did this. I just want to show you. And it's not a bragging thing. It's look what came out of here. Because that's where we work at. That's where we live at. What do we come up with? So if you got something like that, like an idea or a tip or trick or something creative, please share it with us. It's coming up on the top of the hour. We have a demonstration lined up for you this evening, folks. I'm Captain Eddie Castle, and I've got the world's greatest wood turning club right here, right in front of you tonight. And if you know a friend that's not part of our group, bring them on in. And remember, ask for that special, what do you call it, Dane? It's the
new beginner welcome pack. Package.
New beginner welcome package. That's right. Be sure you ask for it when you get in. And if Dane can't get it to you, we can get Billy Bird to send it on to you. Because if you haven't had a fun time yet, if you haven't been in trouble, get in trouble with Billy Bird. That's what it takes. All right. What do we have up next, Dane?
Well, it's top of the hour. Let's do a quick fill-in safety brief, and then after that, let's go to our featured demonstration tonight.
All right. So we're going to go to Band-Aid
Brenda. No
Hi,
Band-Aids.
guys. No Band-Aids tonight. Nope. I do got poison ivy though.
I thought you were coming to the meet and topless tonight.
No. No, I'm identifying as a woman today.
Okay.
My tip for today is when you're in the garage and you're working out there, wear shoes, not sandals, wear shoes of some kind, tennis shoes, whatever. I went out in the garage tonight. I got a bowl on the lathe that I've already turned. It's done turned. I'm doing a finish on it, and I'm trying to do the tongue oil finish like Dane does. So anyway, I was out there and putting tongue oil on this bowl with paintbrush, and it dripped on my foot, and I was in sandals. And it may just be me or whatever, but it burnt. Didn't leave no mark or nothing, but it burnt back. But I had to go in the house and wash it off. So my tip tonight is wear shoes. Okay. I wasn't planning on getting out there and, I wasn't turning, so I figured sandals is all right. No. So that's my tip.
Very, very sound advice. Whether you're putting finish on or even if you're turning, because if you drop a tool or you drop your workpiece or stub your foot into something that's pointy and sharp sticking out, especially those that wear Crocs, you're going to have a real bad nightmare on your hand.
I was wearing sandals. Yep. It hurt a little bit. I didn't need no Band-Aid. So. Yep. So anyway, that's my tip for tonight then.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Brenda.
All right.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's go to our demonstration for tonight. We have Mr. Tim Hatch on board to demonstrate. He's going to be doing a demonstration on his machine, on his process, on how he's going to be making his little item that he's going to be showing us off. If you have any questions or comments about what he's doing or how he's doing something or why he's not doing something, please keep those questions and comments till the end of the demonstration, when Tim will be able to address them at that particular time. So without further ado, I am going to mute everybody. Tim, you will unmute yourself and we will go from here. All right. Here we go. All you, Tim.
All right, good evening, everybody. Can everyone hear me?
Hear you great.
Yes.
All right, so tonight's demonstration is going to be about making this little ornament here. I call it a cross-drilled Christmas tree ornament. And you see the center of it just has a location where I can put different items. Now, I got the idea, and I was blessed and fortunate enough to go to Walt Wager's birdhouse ornament turning, and I gave Walt a piece of wood and SWAT, and he gave me this beautiful ornament here. So the ornament's a combination of Walt and another gentleman up at Bay Lake Woodturners up in Wisconsin. I'm a self-taught woodturner. I started watching Eddie Castellan and Mike Peace and of course Carl Jacobson and a few others to learn how to do this. And I couldn't see wasting all those little snowflakes like the guy up, but running on a cheap little Excelsior lathe that was my son's, and I just really couldn't afford to stack 3 or 4 of these laser cut snowflakes together and then turn them off. So I came up with this concept, basically using Walt's concept of that hollow drilled bird cage, and the other guys, I think his name's Darren, if I remember correctly. And I came up with this concept on how to build a base to mount different items. And the nice thing about the items, Hobby Lobby or Michael's or wherever, they've got all kinds of little applique stickers, paper poinsettias, glittery snowflakes, Christmas trees, things like that you can stick in the middle. So the very first arts and crafts sale that the wife and I did, I was selling those things, or she was selling those things for about $35 to $40. You see that piece of wood there? It's got some turquoise inlay in here.
Can you hold it back from the camera just a little and hold it steady?
A little better?
Yeah, now we can see it.
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah. So it has a little turquoise inlay, and basically any chunk of wood that, in my mind, wood was hard to come by. I know it grows on trees, but for me, when I first started turning, coming up with this stuff was kind of difficult. I didn't have access to a lot of stuff, and I didn't want to spend a lot of money on it. So that's really how the concept came about. I'll shut my mug and I'll start talking about how we're going to do that. I'm going to switch cameras and we'll talk about the process. Now, I did mail out to Dave Rhodes and Dane Chandler this morning. Or this afternoon, I emailed a copy of kind of my instructions on how I did this. So that should be available on the website later on. So
yes.
Without further ado, let's get to turning some wood. So what I have mounted in here is a block of wood. It's 1 3/4 inch by 1 3/4 inch square. So
Can you tilt your camera up a little bit.
Tim, folks, Tim, can you raise your camera about an inch?
Yeah, I will in just a second. So I just got a square block of wood. It's 1 3/4 by 1 3/4. And what I'm gonna do, let me adjust that camera there. That
Perfect.
better?
Perfect.
All
Yes,
right.
perfect.
So what I'm gonna do now is I'm just gonna, on the end grain, I'm gonna go ahead and drill a 3/8 inch hole all the way through. And like I said, I'm not trying to plagiarize Walt, but sometimes plagiarism is the best form of flattery. And he really impressed me with the way he was doing things. So heels up. Make sure my bit's locked in place here. And
What size bit is that, Tim?
say again,
What size bit? What size hole?
3/8 inch.
Thank
So
you.
the concept is I'm drilling all the way through in grain. All right, so I drilled a 3/8 inch hole all the way through. I have a couple different ways of doing things here. So the 3/8 inch hole, if I'm doing the cross drilled versus this hollow drilled using that same 1 3/4 inch, the bit size is going to be a little bit different. So if I'm doing this type of ornament here with the cross drilled with a pillar in the center, that's going to be a 1 1/8 inch. And again, this just depends, the size of the bit you use depends on the type of ornament and the size of block you start off with. That's the only difference between mine and Walt's. Now, I've already drilled that 1 3/8 or that 3/8 inch hole. Now I'm going on side grain. And for Walt's hollow bird cage ornament, he drills halfway through, flips it over, drills halfway through, flips it over. So he's drilling a hole completely through. On this one, I'm actually just stopping as soon as I bury that shoulder of the bit. Then that gives me a pillar, and I'll get to that in a second. All right, so this bit's locked in. Speed's about 400 plus or minus. Now I got it buried to the shoulder, and I'm going to back up. And if you're making that bird cage type ornament, you're going to drill all the way until you can see your bit through that 3/8 inch hole. You'll see the shadow through there. Okay. So right now I'm going to stop the lathe, and now we just.
You're doing it this way because you're inserting something in there. Is that right? There's nothing in the middle for people to see.
That is correct. So what I'm
All right,
going to
thank
end
you.
up with is something like this. It's not drilled completely through. I end up with a pillar. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and drill this one since I got it on the lathe right now. And this is real time. It doesn't take long.
And what size bit again is this?
It's a 3/8.
The first hole was 3/8. This hole here is 1 1/8. Right. So I drilled those two sides. Now I flip it over. One thing, if you guys are doing production work on this, I noticed that a lot of times chips get stuck in here in your jaws, and sometimes your workpiece will get a little off-centered because you'll have chips in there. So it's up to you to blow it out. And again, I'm just burying it to the shoulder. I'm not going all the way through. And you can knock out a batch of these as far as cross drilling and all that. fairly quickly. All right, so now we're completely drilled. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and remove my drill bit, put my cone center in the tailstock, and in the headstock, I'm gonna put a jam chuck. Now, I could make a jam chuck, you know, by turning a piece of wood, but the way I did this, I cheated. Okay, I took a block of wood, put it in here, into my chuck, and then I drilled a 3/8 inch hole and stuck a 3/8 inch dowel inside there. And this piece of wood that I have right now is a jam chuck, is just an old scrap Osage orange that was laying around.
Yeah, if you're not cheating, you're not trying hard enough. Good idea.
Right, exactly. So with the Osage orange, it's a different color than that birch, you know, dowel rod. And I've got that dowel rod all the way through. So as I cut this back, I've always got a 3/8 inch dowel. So that's one way of doing it. The way I first started doing it was like this. And I took a piece of 3/8 inch aluminum that I had, and I made a jam chuck. And this is what I used last year, but made a new jam chuck for this one. So, all right. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put it between centers. Okay, so I got my jam chuck and I have my live center in the back. So we can do one or two things. We could go ahead and turn it, or we can clean it up. And because I'm doing one of these cross-drilled ornaments like this, I want to go ahead and clean it up. So all I've done is taken a piece of 150 grit sandpaper, I ripped it in half, and now I'm just going to go ahead and quickly sand the inside edge, and I'm going to quickly sand the post. I do this now. If you were going to paint, like any gold or silver or anything like that, now would be a good time to go ahead and paint, regardless of whether you're doing the birdhouse ornament or this type. Now would be the time to paint before you turn everything off. We're not going to paint tonight. This is just kind of I don't want to keep everybody for, 2 hours and stuff while I turn one little ornament. So,
you'd still have our interest, Tim.
All right, so I'll just real quick do all 4 sides there. And one more, and we should be good. Now, I am not going to finish this this evening, because I want to spray all these when, mass produce and spray everything with light. All right, so I do notice when moving up my tool rest, I was a little too close, to my chuck. So thankfully with Powermatic, I've got the little 4 inches of freaking gap here. Now, as I turn this, I can do 1 or 2 things. I could just go ahead and rough it round, which is the way when I'm kind of doing production work. I'm just going to rough everything out semi-round, and then we'll get into turning it blow. Shields up. I'm going to keep my speed probably right around 1600 or so. Now, because I'm turning between centers, if it loosens up a little bit, I'm not really all that worried about it. All I want to do is just light up the tail top. Light cut. And we're pretty close to being round enough to start doing things with. All right, so all I've done is kind of knock the corners off, which is fine. You see, it's kind of high on this side, kind of low on that side. That's all right. We can fix that. Again, speed right now is, I'm gonna get it right around 1,500, 1,600 RPM. Now, one thing you can do that helps folks out, you could mark this like there and there and go, okay, I want to turn this to get it, you know, to the corner. That gives you a reference point on where to start. Well, both gouge probably isn't the tool to use, but you know, whatever you got works, right?
Indeed.
When you have spindle gouges and bowl gouges with same color handles in the stuff. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop there just so you guys can see what's going on. I've still got a flat spot here in the center. So this is the equator. I just need to turn from my equator to turn it down, get it in a little more rounder shape. Now, if you don't want a round shape, you don't have to have one. You could have kind of a pyramid shape to it or whatever, but it's up to you, however you want to turn it. I will tell you, speed is your friend. However, don't get aggressive. If you get aggressive, it's going to get aggressive right back at you and come in your face. And it's going to smack you. So definitely wear your face shield when trying. Walt likes to say ankle, pelvis, and cup. All right, so we're close. We don't have to be perfect here. I mean, if you're doing production turning and maybe you're not really good at turning spheres yet and everything, and I'm still working on it, guys. You know, I've only been turning literally a couple of years, and that's in between training the National Guard and everything. I don't have a whole lot of time in my shop. So depending on how you want to do things, I like to kind of sand this right now. You can see maybe that this is a little rough right here. Might have a little bit of tear out. I'm just going to take some 150. I'm going to hit it real quick, 150, and square that up. Now that whole square. Same thing on the other one. Same thing on the other one. And same thing on the other one. Like I said, you don't have to be a fantastic turner to make this project happen. It's pretty quick and pretty simple. So the next thing I'm gonna do, I got some 150 sandpaper here, and it's the flex pack stuff with the foam on it. Was lucky enough to buy a little bit of that at SWAT before it took off. Now, normally I'd have my dust collection on, but you guys couldn't hear me over that, so I'm just gonna hit it real quick. And if it's not, if it's not 100% perfectly round and you're not satisfied with it, you can sand it down a little bit. It's not gonna hurt anything. I do also find that this sandpaper, and I got this from Home Depot, I believe, it's the Diablo, but it's the mesh, and it's a 120 mesh. So I just double that up and now everything's almost nice and round. Not quite, almost. But one other thing that I found out, while using the jam chuck like this, is on the end here, see, there's a little bit of a bump that sticks out. So you can get rid of that bump by just turning on your lathe, little light pressure. Now your bump's gone. Now, if you have a flat spot and you're not satisfied with that, maybe you're one of those folks like myself that can't turn a perfectly good spear. That's all right. All you got to do is turn it around the other way. Flat spot towards the side. If you have a dominant hand, like you're turning to the right is dominant for you. And I'm just showing you some techniques on things I've learned on how to fix my mistakes. That's all. Shields up. All right, speed up. Most of it out.
We're not hearing your audio come through very clear, Tim.
I'm sorry, you got me now?
Yeah.
All right. I say I got most of that out now. So again, just a real quick touch up on the sanding. Again, on the jam chuck, a little touch up there on that rib. Get a little 320 on there. And obviously, that's not too terrible. It's ready to move on to the next step. So the next step, I'm gonna make a bunch of these and put this away. But so the next step is literally just making a finial for it. Have I got any questions so far on what I've covered?
We have one question on the grain orientation.
Grain orientation. Okay. So the first direction that I drilled was in grain. Okay.
Yeah,
that's the 3/8 inch hole in grain. And then I flipped it sideways for side grain, and that's where I drilled my bigger holes. If I was drilling for the cross drill ornament that I just turned like that, that diameter is 1 1/8 inch. If I am drilling for that ornament, that's going to be a 1 1/4 inch for that hollow one. So because I'm making a lot of these at a time, I have two different, I've got 3 different chucks. I was lucky and fortunate enough to have 3 different chucks. I've got one with a 1 1/8, and I've marked that, that chuck so I don't grab the wrong one. And then I've got one that's 1 1/4 inch and marked that. And of course, the 3/8 inch is set in there. So does that answer?
Great explanation.
So I went from end grain, drilled 3/8 inch hole, put it in the chuck sideways, and drilling side grain, those 4 holes, either 1 1/8 or 1 1/4 inch.
Correct. And then, so basically when it was being turned, it's an end grain orientation because you're using the 3/8 inch dowel in the 3/8 inch hole that's initially drilled to hold it while you're turning. So yes, perfect explanation. Thanks, Tim.
Okay, thank you. All right. So now the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to go ahead and switch over to the beauty of having extra chucks. Since my son isn't here using his lathe, I'm using his chuck. Sucks to be him. So, the next thing I'm going to do is just turn a finial real quick. And guys, I am not the expert on finials by any means, any stretch of the imagination. Okay. But got a couple different ways doing it. I started turning finials with a skew. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. I watched a couple different turners, and Eddie's one of the turners I watched, and him working with the skew just fascinated me. And I picked up the tool and I kind of learned it. Now, unfortunately, most of my tools that I got in the shop are these crappy little Harbor Freight ones that, I picked up. And I've increased a little bit, but most of the tools I have on hand are still the Harbor Freight cheapies that I got 4 years ago. It's high-speed steel. It holds an edge for a little bit of time. It's definitely not as good as, Thompson and some of the other ones out there. But, if you put a hot rock to it every once in a while or a stone, you can make almost anything sharp. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use my roughing gouge just to get this thing round. Because I think that's the way a lot of you guys do it. So, again, speed up around 1800. So not head, so make a noise. All right, so for my finial, I'm just going to kind of turn it around. Turn it off a little bit. I'll go ahead and pick up my skew. Can you turn your camera down a little bit? Say again? The camera down? Camera down a little bit. There, good.
Thank you, Tim.
Almost doing kind of a feeling here. You can make the video as long or short as you want. I'd like to give myself a little relief cup. For this next section here, I'm gonna go ahead and pick up a banana real quick. And there we go. Sure pieces, fully engaged. If not.
Only in a demo.
On you. Only in a demo, right?
All recoverable, Tim.
Always something. That's all right. We'll go ahead and tighten it up again. Return it, see where we're at. Yeah, it's off a little bit.
Make the rest of us feel better.
Yeah. Yeah. Make myself feel bad.
I was actually surprised I didn't have anything go flying last week.
All right, there we go. That's not too bad.
Yeah, you're good.
Set up pretty quick. Does anybody know why that sedan caught that way?
I think your chuck had loosened up.
My truck was loose and I ended up going below center. They were saying this truck was loose. Right, so I turned that down and it's not 3/8 of an inch for sure. See, I got this little wrench here and the wrench is cut using the angle grinder or the grinder there. If you're doing this, don't do it on your CBN wheel, do it on your rough wheel. You're going to sharpen it. But concept here basically is I'm going to get it as close to 3/8 inch as possible, and I'm just going to turn that down. Got to give me a gauge.
I bought a set of wrenches just for that purpose 2 years ago. I still haven't sharpened them.
Yeah, they work good without sharpening. I've got some myself that I use for the same purpose. 3/8, 1/4 inch, unsharpened.
Oh yeah, you can still gauge with them just fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can move them up and down. You don't have to like take it off and put it back on. You know what I mean? Once you got it on, you can push it down and it'll move, even things out.
Right.
So one thing you want to make sure you do is undercut the back side of this, so it fits on that rounded portion. All right. Obviously, a little standing probably helped that video. If I wouldn't have chewed it up as much as I did, wouldn't even stand it. But things happen. Let's go ahead and take that down a little bit. Quarter-inch detail gouge.
Do you have Mark Soleil's grind on that, Tim?
Yeah. Well, I tried. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, I understand. I did the same thing with mine, but they sure cut a whole lot better.
So, all right, the other, so we're pretty much there on that. I've got somewhere. I went down a doggone parting tool. All right, so I've got a basic finial. The parting tool I got here, literally, it's just a piece of steel from Harbor Freight. Out of their high-speed steel packet. It's a 1/16 by 1/2 inch by 4.5 inches long with a handle put on it. And then I, ground a point on it, and then I've got a 15-degree kind of bevel on both ends, so when it's cutting away. That Harbor taught me that one night. Watching his video. And there we go. So we now have a finial for the bottom. Now I got to get something for the top. So I'm going to take my skew. I'm going to go ahead and find center. Clean up the bottom, down center. Now I got tired of changing out drill bits and everything. So I got one of these little cheap handles here. And I got me a set of these Cobalt drill bits that fit in the handle. So instead of changing out chucks all the time, I'm just gonna do a quick little hand drill on that. I got my center point marked. We go. That's it. So now what that does, if I mass produce these finials and toppers, then I can use them for either ornament. If that makes sense.
Sure. Camera angle's good too.
All right. Heels up. So now. Taco. I can get a gouge it. I don't have to worry about sharpening. All right, so now I have a topper. So if I'm going to take and maybe put one of these candy canes or one of the snowman, an angel, piece of hard candy. You know, they sell these little decorations all over the place. If I'm gonna put one of those in this, then all I would do is, I've got my hole already drilled. I put the topper on. I put that piece with a small piece of wire on it, glue it into the topper, and then I mount my bottom finial. Put a screw eye on top there, and I have an ornament that's complete and ready to go. So that's what's going on there. I do have a couple other little tips and pointers. So say maybe your for some reason your finial doesn't quite fit in there. Maybe you got carried away, you cut it too fast, it's not fitting correctly. Well, you don't want to sit there and try to remount this and re-drill this, or remount this and return it so it fits. Especially if you're trying to mass produce things, you know, for a craft show or something. again, it's a price point thing. It's not that you're not doing good work, but you're doing the best work you can in the least amount of time. You know, so you're not spending 4 hours out there trying to make. So that doesn't fit in there. Well, I found this little plumbing reamer. I don't remember if I got it at Lowe's, Home Depot, Harbor Freight. I don't remember where I got it. I know I didn't pay a whole lot for it, but if that's the side I want the finial to be on, all I've got to do is stick that reamer in there, work it around just a little bit. Test, not quite there. Reamer's tapered, so it's going to give me a tapered fit. There we are. Now,
That's a great tip, Tim.
you know, so again, if it's not perfect, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, you can either paint these things, you can stain them, you can finish them any way you finish everything else. But, you know, give you an idea. I don't know how well you can see this, but this particular one, it's walnut with maple and Purple Heart. And all I did was just laminate a piece of Purple Heart and a piece of maple to a chunk of walnut and then turned it down. Now I have, you know, a different design on there. And that's
Cool.
gonna probably be one of the top sellers. So,
Nice.
you know, it's little simple things. The biggest takeaway that I wanted everybody to get was Walt does beautiful work, and I am by no means am I not impressed with him. He does exceptional work. I am nowhere close to being Walt Wager's friggin' equal in way of wood turning. But I can make some stuff that'll sell at an arts and crafts sale, you know, little local one, and I can get 30, 40 bucks. For the ones that have that turquoise and stuff, all I do on that is I take a piece of the spalted wood that maybe has a defect in it, and I fill it with either the brass, the turquoise, the lapis, whatever, and then turn it. I don't spend a lot of time on these things, guys, just because time is money, and I don't have a whole lot of time that I can get in the shop. Now, is it my best turning? No, it's definitely not. But like I said, I sent Dane and Dave Rhodes both a copy of this, so hopefully it'll be up on the website if you guys want some instructions. If you want to see somebody really good at turning, which isn't me, Walt Wager did a before on his birdcage ornament, and then of course on that write-up I did, I also included that other gentleman that I talked about that did the snowflake holoform snowflake. So, folks,
Great job,
if there's
Tim.
any questions?
Yeah, there was a question on what size cubes you start with.
The SKU that I got here, no, I think it's
No, not your skew. The cube, the wood block.
oh,
What size
the block of
block?
wood. The
Yep.
block, this particular block of wood, and the only reason I went with this size, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I went to my local wood source sawmill, Birdall's, and he had a bunch of cutoffs that were friggin' just under, they were just under 2 inches, and they were 6 foot long, and I got an armful of them for 30 bucks. So by the time I ran it through my joiner and my planer to square it up, and then ran it through the table saw, I ended up with 1.25 inches just by trimming it up. But like this other one here with the snowflakes in it, these snowflakes you can buy. Hang on one second, let me pull the box of them out. Yeah. So you can get a box of these snowflakes like this from Hobby Lobby, or, you know, if you've got a laser like Eddie does and everything, you can make your own. But you can buy those, I think Hobby Lobby or Michael's and whatever, they're on sale right now, 50% off arts and crafts stuff. Those, you're gonna have to measure the diameter of whatever you're putting inside this hole. Those obviously are not gonna fit in this hole. So this needs to be, you know, this block of wood needs to be 2 1/4, which is the size Walt Wager demonstrates with his birdhouse one. The problem with this is when I did the original ones like this, I use that 7mm friggin' pin mandrel, turn this on a pin mandrel. So again, you're not limited to turning it the way I did. You could use a pin mandrel. You could make your own chuck. You could do it between a dead center and a live center, you know, cone center and a safety center. The beauty of that is if you get that catch, like you saw me get a catch during the demonstration, all it does is stop the block of wood. It's captured it between the 2 points. It's the safest way of turning.
Yes.
So as long as you got those 2 points and your wood's pretty solid. Now I have had some of the spalted stuff explode on me, but any other questions there, Dane?
I believe I captured them all. If anybody else has a question, now's the time to make your comments or questions on the demo. But other than that, fantastic job, Tim. I really appreciate it. You did a good job, buddy.
Hey,
Good
no
demo,
problem.
Tim.
Good job, Tim.
Thank you.
Very
Appreciate it, guys.
Real
I
good
like
demo,
that.
Tim. Yeah, I like that. I like the
Yeah.
snowflakes too there.
Yeah, and
demo,
like I
gave
said,
you some good
I just
ideas.
I couldn't see wasting, you know, stacking up like 3 or 4 of those doggone snowflakes and turning it all away. So that's why I came up with this idea. And then my wife's like, "Oh, you can
Nice
stack
job.
things on it." So,
Right?
all right.
Yeah, great
good job,
Demo,
guys.
Tim. What blade is that?
Nice job, Tim.
I'm sorry.
Automatic.
That's a Powermatic
Yeah, this is
2014.
the Powermatic 2014.
Nice.
Yeah.
Right.
Great little lathe.
All right, I'm out of here.
All right, thanks, Tim. All right, Eddie, let's go back to you now. And if anyone has anything for gallery, let's throw it in the chat, and I'll be going to gallery here after some comments on the demo and whatnot by Eddie.
That'll work. I tell you what, that's a nifty project, Tim. And it gives you a lot of versatility, a lot of things to play with, and don't get locked into dimensions. You know, he said, what's the size this is and that. Every scrap of wood is just a piece that hasn't been turned yet. And doesn't matter how big it is. And if you cross the drill and it doesn't line up, hey, that's your art. It'll be okay. Or if you get a little creative and do one size one way and one size the other way, yeah, play with it a little bit. Have a little fun. As Tim said, he was talking about the quality of the tool he's using. He's got those Harbor Freight tools that are just high-speed steel, and it really is, and this and that. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. High-quality tools will last better and maybe cut better and all this, but the lower-quality tools, they're not junk. They're not junk. Just means you're going to get a little bit better putting an edge on it and a little bit better using it not to abuse that edge. And you'll develop some skills around that. Trust me, if you have to work with lesser quality tools and do better quality work, you will become a better quality wood turner. You will. Trust me, it'll come that way. That's just how it's always been. And you can't buy your way to expert. You can't. If you got something to show tonight, let's put it in chat and chat and let Dane call on you and do it. It's just about the top of the hour. We stay here live and direct to you until 9:00 p.m. Central Daylight Time. At that time, I normally duck out, but the program continues on. This is meeting number 206. We started gathering here a little bit over 4 years ago, and we sit on the tailgate. I saw one time earlier to see we had 105, 106 members join us. And if you have a friend that's a turner and they'd like to pop in and visit, come on in. It's free. It is the world's finest, freest wood turning program. And we have the greatest website. If you haven't checked it out, worldwidewoodturners.org is a spot. if something comes up dealing with wood turner, Dave Rhodes has got it. He's got it covered. He's a volunteer. He handles our website. Everything you can imagine is there. And go ahead, if you choose, compare us to anybody else. It's fine. Anybody. Go ahead and compare it. There's a lot of love and a lot of heart that goes into this program. A lot of love. And it only happens because of you, our membership. This all got started with 10 guys talking about getting out on a tailgate and sharing lies and telling stories and seeing just who could come up with what. And most of those guys are still sitting right here. Yep. Some of y'all are really quiet, but you're still sitting right here. And we all get in trouble together. And I love it. Makes it.
Yep.
Makes
The only thing I've found better than this, Eddie, is SWAT.
that, thank you, Billy. That really matters. Especially Billy Bird says that. Yeah, it really does. And that's where this got started. Sitting with Ruth 4 years ago and just realizing guys were coming up saying, why isn't there a club where we can just talk and visit and we don't have to pay? We don't have to buy a magazine. We don't have to have a membership. We don't have to do this and that. Here it is. I came back and asked 10 friends, what do you think? And all 10 of them said, hey, as long as you don't let the almighty dollar drive the bus, we're going to get going. And we've never let the dollar drive the bus. We're not going to let the dollar drive the bus because we're having a good time at it. I said the dollar drive the bus. Remember, the only thing we've ever sold on this meetings is the club stickers. The details nights on the front page of the world's greatest wood turning website, worldwidewoodturners.org. And if you have questions on it, check it out. You can always email me or text me. And the club email is worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. And if you've got an image that you like us to put on Facebook, you can send it to worldwidewoodturners@gmail.com. You can post it yourself on Facebook, and you can send it on to our website at worldwidewoodturners.org, and we'll use it on our website. We like to show off your work, but do me a favor. Send me more than one photograph of that piece. That's your art. That's what you just created in the shop. So, if you show me a piece, a little while ago, we saw one from Sandy, and she had a nice bowl she turned, a platter, and it had some artwork on it. And that can't be sold in one image. It really can't. Why? Because the artwork shows, but the grain and the texture of the piece shows, the shape, the contours, the lines, all that shows. So one photograph would not do that work justice. So if you're going to send me photographs, or send us, because it's for everybody, photographs, come on, share a little bit more. Click, click, click. Doesn't cost any more to go click, click, click than just click. So we like to see those pictures. And it really starts. So like we just did with Tim Hatch a little while ago. He said, think about this. Do you do this and that? All these are just brain starters. You're looking at this and you're thinking, wow, I'll walk through Hobby Lobby tomorrow. I'm going to look at all these little nifty doodads. I got a problem walking through Hobby Lobby. You do too. Tell me you can only go in and get one thing. Yeah, right. Tell me, yeah. And don't lie to your friends. You can't go in and you just get one thing. You sell all these other ones, like the pens that Sandy was talking about. That's where I got my set. I got my kit right there at Hobby Lobby. I went looking for something else, and I saw this kit sitting out of place. Picked it up. My wife says, "You don't need those." I said, "We never come here for anything I need. We just come here for things I want." Don't right here. It's going to go. So that's why we get these great ideas. So yes, folks, we come up with them, and it never stops. We talked about. I got the note here. Tongue oil. Somebody earlier, and I'm terrible at names. Okay, somebody said they were working with tongue oil, and I thought it was Dave.
Yeah, it's Dave George.
Yeah, Dave George. About working with tongue oil. Members, if you need a tutorial on tongue oil, we may have some very, very good artists working with tongue oil that can help you with this. I mean, I don't want to commit Cade Boger to doing a demonstration for us. It would be the last thing I'd want to do at this exact moment is to say, we could always go to Canada and get Cade to tell us more about tongue oil and how you can get a perfect finish with it. Or we can go to Utah or Arizona or someplace like that and get ideas on this tongue oil finish. But we have those demonstrators available to us. So if you have a need or a want, or you'd like to just get involved, jump on board, because sometimes the simplest, coolest looking fix is right in front of you. And all you have to do is get rid of the mystery. It's like when Dave was showing us, he did the outside of the piece with 3408. And we have new members that say, what the heck is 3408? Well, it's Parafix. And it is a surgical CA. And who brought it to us? A handful of members. We probably got 30 guys sitting here that use it all the time. Mark Soleil has been with us. I hope Mark's well. I didn't see him on the list on that if he popped in. But 34.8 is a great finish for super glue. And I remember years ago, I went to SWAT, probably sitting in the same room with Billy Burt, as we watched a guy do a demonstration with super glue. And he was using Starbond thin super glue to finish the outside of a piece. And there was some jaybirds in the front row saying, oh, that's a waste of time. That's no good. That's no good. That's terrible. You see all this? He just poo. If you understand what happens with super glue finishes and you take your time to not listen to the old wives' tales, you come up with a really, really good finish. And it's the best thing in the world if you're going to have people handling it, because everything wipes off of it. Everything wipes off of it. Okay. If you got something to show tonight, put it in chat. We'll be glad to show it off for you. I'll let you show it off. Remember, we're going to want to know how big it is, what kind of wood it is, and especially what kind of finish did you put on there, and if it's 3408. All right. Who's up?
Well, we got Birdhouse Bob.
Oh, wow. Bob, what's up? There he is. He's there.
Yeah. How's everybody doing? Can y'all hear me? Okay. This is a piece I did out of a piece of rosewood. It's a box. It could be a birdhouse. But and then this is the lid, which is maple. And I textured it here and here and put an ebony finish on it. I mean, an ebony finial on it. And it's finished with Minwax antique oil. The whole thing's about 12 inches tall.
That's beautiful, Bob.
I like that lip.
Gorgeous.
Looks good.
Thank
I like that
Very
angled
nice.
lip. Yeah.
Really great looking.
Oh, I
Well,
like
thank
that.
you.
It's nice.
And that's what I got.
Great job, Bob.
Thank you.
Yeah, great job. Leonard Davis wants to know, how do you make the angle on the lip?
I made a jig for it that holds the chuck, and I cut it on a bandsaw. Okay, I'll go get the jig and show you.
Good, yeah. Nice.
I'll be
We'll
back in a
pop back
minute.
and see you. All right. Here on Worldwide Wood Turns, you ask for it, and well, sometimes you find it. And that's like instant service.
While we're waiting on Bob, let's go to Kelly and see what he's got to show us. Kelly, you still there, or you bouncing in and out with your computer?
I see Kelly.
I finally made it.
All right.
All right. So before SWAT, I'd been working on making calabashes, and then last week Billy did a demo on calabashes because I fell asleep at that meeting where the demo when the power went out at SWAT. So anyway, I made mine.
Very well.
Yep, looks
And,
good, Kelly.
It's pretty big. It's like I
I think 9 inches wide at the widest point and 4.5 inches tall, something like that.
Yeah.
And
Looks great, Kelly.
Very
Yeah.
nice.
Good looking.
nice
Good
spots.
smooth lines, good smooth lines.
Yeah. Nice piece of
Nice.
film. Doesn't fit on my head though.
Kick back some meat in that.
Oh, and the finish I put on it was I think tried and true.
Thing will hold 1.5 million.
Indeed. Thanks, Kelly. All right, let's go back to Birdhouse.
Okay.
Did he come
Okay,
back?
so,
There he is.
There he is.
So I still
You got
had the
you, Bob.
I still had the tenon on this. And I made this out of plywood with a 1-inch bolt. And I had to use a nut on here because the 1-inch bolt I had was longer. And I put a chuck on the side. And I can loosen the bolt and raise this up and down. It stays in the chuck like this. And I slide it across my bandsaw table. And I can keep my hands back in here so my hands don't get anywhere close to the blade. So it goes through like that. That makes sense?
Oh,
It
yeah.
does.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Very
So you
slick.
can make it
Yeah, that's
flat
cool,
or
Bob.
you could curve it, right?
And works great, but I should have made this front piece right here a little wider. It'd be more stable, but I just put another piece underneath it to make it more stable.
Right. Yeah. And you can do that to do wave bowls.
Yeah.
Kind of wavy. And, oh, yeah.
That's
All
cool.
kinds of
And
stuff.
I made
I
one
saw
like that,
this
made a
on,
wave bowl.
I saw this something similar to this on Mike Peace's YouTube, and he calls it a bandsaw jig. So I wasn't smart enough to come up with it on my own.
Yeah.
Scott
That's pretty
Texas
cool.
made one of them.
But when you clamp it down in the chuck, it's not going anywhere.
Right.
And you don't have to worry about your piece going into your blade like this and then twisting on you.
Right.
And,
We
Very
have a
slick.
video on that on our website, don't we?
Yes, we do from about 3 years ago from Tres Lynette.
Well, I thought Scott made one.
And Scott also has one, which was about, I think that was last fall, September, October timeframe.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw a demo of a guy that did a wave bowl. It's from Los Angeles, I think. I don't remember his name. His was a lot more elaborate than that, but that does what I want to do.
Right.
John Beaver, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's who it was.
John Beaver, yeah. Nice job.
Good stuff, Bob. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's go to Mr. Duxbury.
Ooh. All right. Let me see here. Can you see that?
Got you now.
Okay. Can you see the
What is that?
screen share?
Off-center
Yeah,
jig.
that's a
Duxbury
picture of
off-center jig.
that's a picture of the
If-
duck's jig through a kaleidoscope.
Yeah, if you make a kaleidoscope without the objects in it, it's called a kaleidoscope. And if you hook it to your camera, I built one for my camera. So this is a duck's chuck in a kaleidoscope. That's a close-up. That's actually the chuck in the primary triangle. And then these are all reflections off of it. That's a close-up through it. This is backing off further. And then this is backing off even further. But you can put all kinds of things in the
Wow.
middle of your bowl or whatever else and take pictures of it. It's kind of interesting. It's a 3-mirror kaleidoscope. If you had 2 mirrors and one side was black, instead of getting all triangles off of here, you'd get a mandala. you'd have the primary triangle. And if this is 60 degrees, you divide that into 360, you'd have a 6-point triangle. I should do one of those. Maybe in my spare time, I'll do one of those. Anyway, you'd have a 6-point triangle or a 6-point mandala with this in the center of it. And as you close this angle up, you get more points on the star. So you can close this down to, I don't know, 10 degrees, you'd have 36 points on the star. But the problem with doing that is when you start closing the mirror down, you have to have the camera inside the mirrors. So you lose the eye hole. You start getting a real small eye hole, but you get a way more detailed image. Anyway, I just thought it'd be fun to see. There's no end of what you can do with these things.
Sure.
And you might want to say what can go.
Well, I'm glad you clarified that, because when you said that was a jig, I thought, boy, that's the strangest looking jig.
Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Yeah.
No.
Now I see what you're saying. I'm slow on the uptake sometimes.
Oh, no worries.
That's coming. That's coming.
All right, Dave, you're up.
You're muted, Dave.
You're muted, Dave.
Unmute yourself.
Ah. Still muted.
There we go. I should be unmuted now.
Yes.
Maple from the front yard, so to speak. I was just in the mood to do some trimming of a tree. I don't know if you could really see it there.
Beautiful.
Looks nice.
Yeah, it looks good.
Finished.
How you say it was?
Thought of it if it weren't for last week's video, and it's not the same thing, but it's the concept.
Yeah, it looks good.
Very
What
nice.
kind of tree did you say that was?
It's a maple, I hope.
Yeah, looks
Like
like
it.
maple.
Yeah.
What's your finish?
It's simply 3408. 3408.
Okay. Yeah, I can see the shine on her. It looks great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's
Dave.
just
No light
that's-
in it.
that-
I don't know why it's shining at all.
that's almost a bird's mouth.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? But Billy?
Yeah.
That was what I was thinking when I did it. I thought I was gonna make a small bird's mouth. I tried to make a second one with the same branch, and I realized it was the wrong shape, and I ended up with only one side sticking out. The other side was cut away. I got a
Bird mouth was what I thought of first.
What's that?
Bird mouth bowl was what I first thought of.
Yep.
Somebody's been paying attention these 4 years.
That's it.
Good job, Dave. All right, let's go to Brent. Hey, Brent.
Hey, Brent.
Hiya, how you doing? So I got this here aspen vessel I made. Got the top, I don't know if you can really tell, the top is got a silver leaf with a chemical patination on it. It's a threaded top. I did an insert on the top. It's threaded. Didn't do my threads very well, but it's all threaded and such. But this was kind of
nice.
That is, it's gorgeous.
wow. Challenging vessel for me and such, but
Very, very pretty, Brent.
Yeah, that is really pretty, Brent.
so rattle can lacquer for the finish. So, but it was a challenging little project for me and such. So, but that's what I got today. So,
Looks great. Thanks for sharing. Good seeing you too.
well, thank you, thank you. I haven't been turning much. I injured my knee and haven't been able to stand at the lathe for a while, such. So, but I'm back. So,
Feeling better soon.
Glad you're feeling better.
yeah, thanks. So, that's what I got. So,
All All right, thank you. All right, let's go to John. John, we got you.
All right. We had a little wind in our neighborhood the other day, and my neighbor lost a red oak limb off of his tree. It was about 10 inches in diameter. And I went out and saw a crook in the thing. There was a limb coming out of here that it was a knot. It had healed over, and the limb was bent in the middle down this way. So I thought I'd make a coliform out of it, and it's about 15 inches in wide, the limbs or the wings, and this part is about 8 inches, and it's hollowed out, and as you can see, the rot and the limb was pronounced pretty much, and it's hollowed out to about 3/8 to half an inch, and I haven't finished it completely. I've still got to take the tenon off and do something with that, but I think it did a pretty good job.
First thing I thought when I saw it was pith helmet. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's pretty though.
Gorgeous.
Yes.
In the interest of the UFO interest these days, I call it beam me up, Scotty.
Yep.
Yeah. Good deal.
Great job.
John, where are you located at?
I'm in Birmingham, Alabama.
Alabama. Okay.
Roll Tide.
Love that piece.
How's that?
All right, thanks, John, for sharing that. All right, let's go back to Kelly.
Yeah, I'm glad you let me show mine before Matt's, because no, I can't go behind Matt. He's too good. But I forgot to show this one, pedestal bowl.
Nice.
So there's a
Nice. Very nice.
because it's kind of, it's cool looking, but it's obviously worthless. You can't use it for anything. So I went ahead and inlaid the inside a little bit with some texture. But can you see the color?
Yeah, it's beautiful.
That looks really good, Kelly.
Gorgeous color.
Yeah.
There
You
it
said
goes.
is that a dye?
Yeah, that's dyed. Dyed in white.
How did you dye the inside without? Did you dye the inside?
I used well, yeah, I dyed it and then I cleaned off some of the dye, and then I textured it, and then I inlaid the texture with some wax.
Oh, okay. All
With
right.
some gold wax. That's a walnut.
So you cut the dyed part back on the inside.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very carefully. And then
Yeah.
yeah, this is walnut on the bottom, and then figured maple for the other colors. Which I don't know how well those colors are coming through. Let me try this. How about that?
Yeah, that's better. There you
Oh
go.
yeah, cool.
Very
Nice.
pretty.
Wow.
But that's what it looks like sitting down on a table.
Is that Hampshire sheen?
Oh, it's intrinsic colors, yes. And then you see the wax, the embellishment wax with that gold tint to it.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I love their products.
Yeah, they're great.
Good stuff.
I'm doing a demo at my club on the finish, because it's it's a buildup of wax and other things. All right, that is all I got until the until the tailgate.
All right, let's go to Mr. Goblets.
Well, this is Mr. Goblets. What I've got here is a little something that this is something that came from from Sally Alt. This is a little scoop. Okay. Shop scraps. This is walnut. And this is just pine from the shop. Just, construction lumber. So thank you, Kelly, for the vote of confidence, but it's just nothing big. And the finish is super glue finish, Star Bond. So, but this is something that Sally, this is something that Sally Alt teaches. And she sells them for like $20 or something like that. And I love making these. And this is where, I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's got a little tenon in there. And you just use a the quarter inch wrench to put your tenon on this piece. And a 1/4 inch Forstner bit to make the little hole in the cup, and you just there you can see it.
Yeah.
So, and like I say, it's Star Bond super glue finish. So,
is that
there you go.
2 table?
It's 1 1/8 inch across. I don't drink coffee, so I don't even know if it's the right size or not.
Okay.
But they're all the ones that she makes and all the ones that I made are all about the same size. So it's probably the right size for a coffee scoop. So
Hey, I drink a lot of coffee. You can send it to me if you want.
Yeah, not a problem, dude.
Nice job, man.
Like Leonard says, scoop to taste.
Yeah, it's a really cool project because it's like turning goblets or anything else. You get you can turn this bit with the skew. It's great skew practice, and you can be like artistic however you want. My handles are all over and this is just basic, small bowl hollowing, and you're using pieces that you don't normally use anything else. You know what I mean? So it's just stuff that's sitting around the shop, and they're a lot of fun. So, and it doesn't take very long to do, which is one of my favorite factors in turning things.
Right. Yeah, scoops are fun to do.
Yeah, they are. Hey, I can use these for salt and sugar, and I cook a lot. So, there's a lot of things you can do with it.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't just have to be coffee.
Right. All right, Eddie, let's go back to you for some comments.
Yeah, that's it.
Thoughts on projects.
Those scoops, the sizing and all, there was a formula that you could get for the size and the depth and all that. I just found out that no matter what, would you say scoop the taste? Did somebody say scoop the taste?
The taste.
Yeah. Hey, I've worked with people that if you could stand the spoon up in the coffee, it was just about right. So it doesn't really matter what size, what number it is. It's just how it's going to taste. You can always add a little water to it if it's too tight. But we'd like to see those little projects, and those are good holding projects. Now, when we started talking about these wrenches and making the tenons, Tim Hatch today talked about putting a little tenon on using a wrench. I went to Harbor Freight and found a set of open end box wrenches, open on one side, box on the other, and there were 1/4, 7/16 on up the line, and the whole kit was maybe $6 or $7. And then I took it back to the shop, and on my conventional grinder, not my CBN wheel, because you don't grind regular metal in your CBN wheel, I went and shaped all of them to make them into tenon cutters. And when I have the ring on the other side, they all fit on the same shower ring. So it's right there. And it's because of what it does, you don't really need a fancy handle on a piece. You can take it, push it up against it, and make the cut. And then match it up with a good set of Forstner bits and make sure that they work out. Check the sizing, because there's no set standard on any of these things. So the cheaper ones might be a little bit looser than the good ones, and yada, yada, yada. But it's play with, and if you come up with a formula that might work or help us fine tune that a little bit, we'd like to know about it, because it's when we make shop made tools, we're making our art with our toys. And that really does matter. And one day we're going to set it back up again, because the fun times we have here is when we do this tricks and tips thing. And that is when we dedicate an hour or so, the prime time, right in the middle of the meeting, and this is meeting number 206. Right in the middle of the meeting, when we ask guys and turners, what do you have in your shop that you made that's unique to you in the way you work? And boy, if you folks come up with some nifty ideas, and if we do it all the time, and you just think, well, it's a depth gauge, but it's a spacer, it's a feeler, it's such and such. How do I do this and do that? You come up with a solution, share a solution, because we all may have the same kind of problem. I was showing somebody here the other day on my front porch, of all places to work on something. My front porch, he had a Jet 1014 he bought at the red, white, and blue thrift store about a mile down the road, and the headstock and tailstock didn't line up. The tool was made wrong or assembled wrong, and the tailstock, the headstock was bolted into where it was twisted from what the tailstock would line up to. And we looked at it. I said, what you need is to shim this up just about this much. And went in the back, rooted through a box of old tools, and came up with some feeler gauges. And I said, we can use the feeler gauges. Then I thought, well, why not just use the feeler gauges? So I stacked a couple of shims of feeler gauge up underneath that brace, tightened the bolts down until we got it to the right grade where the twist was. And we took the twist out of the headstock.
Yeah.
Got right in line with the tailstock. Simple fix, and it was just mismanufactured by a little bit. These things aren't really proofs, and it's up to you and I to kind of fix those little glitches. So we're going to do that tricks and tips again and see what else we can come up with. And as we do it every time in the past, Jim Duxbury just walks right in and steals a show. And we give him a chance. We get him a little bit of prep work to get out there and find out what he came up with. Because he's out there doing it. He does it every single time. But we know you can outdo him. So we're going to hold on for that. If you got a gallery item you want to share with us tonight, do so. We got about 30 minutes before I pull the plug on my end. But we'll stay here and chat because some interesting things happen in the after hours. And that's when, if you got a problem, you want to talk something out, you'll have some of the world's finest wood turners sitting right with you.
That's right.
And we'll talk right through it. And
Yes, we
there's
will.
no restrictions. We'll talk right through it. And here's one, challenge us. Come on, tell us what you got. What do we have now, Dane?
Well, we've got Glenn Domek up. Hey, Glenn.
Hey, where's he been?
I don't know. He's been hiding.
I'm here.
Now we got you.
I haven't been turning a whole lot, but I did a couple of weeks ago. I turned this little box, but it's threaded, and it's got the 16 threads per inch. I use the Carter and Son
Thread chaser.
Thread chaser, and this is the first one I ever made, and because me and Joaquin supposed to do demonstrating thread chasing this coming Saturday at our meeting, and so I'll see how it goes. I got to go.
Nice job.
And the grain, and when I turned it and put it together, the grain matched right away. I didn't have to. I might have just have to take a few thousandths off the face to get it, and it come out pretty good. And then I did a little bit of texturing on the face of the lid, and then on the bottom.
Nice.
It's just out of a piece of mesquite.
Oh yeah.
And then my daughter, she's fixing to get married on the 23rd, and she wanted me to make her a ring holder, and she wanted mesquite with the
with the natural, or with the natural edge. And she wanted kind of dished out. And so she wants to put hers and her fiance's ring on it, and then her earrings and her necklace inside the bowl. And so this is out of a piece of mesquite I got from my mesquite source, Joaquin, and he's our wood source down here.
The woodmonger.
But this is about 4.5 inch diameter, about 6 inches tall. So she's happy for it, fixing to go. Yeah, the wedding's going to be in New Hampshire in a couple of weeks, so fixing to fly out in a week and a half. So looking forward to the
carry-on bag.
Looking forward to the cool weather up there. So that's all I got.
All right, thanks, Glenn. Thanks for sharing.
You're welcome.
All right, let's go to my buddy up north. Hey, Cade.
Hey everyone, hope all is well.
Doing good.
'Tis the season. I've started making ornaments. I haven't even advertised them yet, and I already have 90 to make. And I make 100 for each gallery I'm in, so I got 500 to make so far before I even advertise them. So here's a couple. I make them in many different colors, many different wood designs, or color contrast by combining different woods. So here's a few of them. And then I have a couple on my lathe that I'm just doing the globes. So I do them in red, blue, green, yellow, orange, like a fire, like a teal, and then color contrasting finials. So here's one made out of ash with an ash finial. Here's another red one with walnut cap and walnut finials. The whole process, all three pieces are done solely with the skew, my favorite tool, the best tool out there, less sanding, minimally virtually no sanding. Here's one in yellow, which is ash and walnut. Here's one, when I dye them, I like to use white ash or the white part of brown maple. So this one's ash with an ash finial. Some of them I do globes, some of them I do hot air balloon shaped. Some are more abstract than others. That's another ash one.
Out of curiosity, how much do you get for them up there?
40 to 50 bucks each, depending on material and the woods or wood combinations. Also depends whether it's wholesale or retail. But it all depends on demographic and what you can get for them, I suppose. This one is a double dye with red and yellow.
Nice.
Very nice.
With a walnut finial. There
What's
we
the
are.
price between cash and checked?
Same price.
Yeah.
And then here's one out of wood with icicle type drops. And then the eyelets I get at Michael's. I just bend them and glue them in the hole.
Hey, Cade, how long does it take you to turn one?
How long does it take me to turn one? It's 3 pieces. So when I do each piece in batches of production. So I turn the globes on a pen mandrel, so I turn 3 at a time. I put on a 1 inch, like a pen blank, and I get probably 6 to 8 of the top caps out of. And then I will get 1 of these out of it. So the top caps are maybe 40 seconds to 50 seconds each. The globes are probably about a minute or so with sanding and dyeing. This finial is probably about a minute or a
He
minute
does
and
it.
a half. So once I'm at this point, I'm in maybe 4 to 5 minutes assembled, and then finishing takes about 2 minutes over time accumulated across each individual piece. So each individual piece takes me maybe 6 to 7 minutes each.
Is that what our demo is gonna be next week?
No, but I'm doing a demo in October on something different.
Hey, Cade,
I
what
did
do you,
do this demo, one sec. I did do this demo a few years ago for this club, so it will be on the
Correct. The
on
webpage
the
and on
YouTube channel. So what were you saying? Sorry.
Cade, I just wondering, what do you normally finish those with?
Tongue oil or spray lacquer, depending
Okay.
how many I have to make in a short period of time, the quickest finish or my best finish.
Okay, thank you.
Which brand of tongue oil are you using?
I use polymerized tongue oil, so I use either Minwax tongue oil or Watco tongue oil.
Okay.
It is still exactly totally food safe once all the levelers and hardeners have evaporated and passed that incubation period. So you don't have to use pure tongue oil, which can definitely take weeks, if not months, to dry, depending on where you live. Up here, it can be quite humid in the summer. So pure tongue oil won't dry until the summer's done. So that's not practical. So I use polymerized tongue oil all the time, and it works great. It's durable.
Very durable.
Yeah, very durable. And then I have a couple boxes I did. These were just offcuts because I had to mill up little blanks for doing my ornaments. So I had a couple cracks I had to cut around. So I was just playing on the lathe. I made a fairly simple box with an offset teardrop. There it is there.
Wow.
And then I did another one offset, a little more elaborate, a little more fun. And this is this one here.
Amazing.
Very nice.
That looks like a good demo to me.
And then I even have the offset circle to frame the finial. And I
Yeah.
don't use any eccentric chucks. I do it very medieval-like. So I just turn it on the chuck as I go. And a lot of it's trial and error and memory of all the different angles and how much offset you use to create different aspects of multi-axis turning, whether it's offset double, offset one, offset twists. There's so many offset ways to turn. And it's fun to do. These I was just having to play, and they'll go into the winter gallery that I'm in from October to the end of December. And last but not least, and then I'll stop talking. I got an order from some clients who had an apple tree on their property, who wanted an heirloom turning in memory of the tree that grew on their property. So they called me up, had me come over. They had this big gnarly chunk. The tree was absolutely massive. It was like 3.5 foot diameter. So I had to bring my big 4-foot bar chainsaw, a Steel 880 chainsaw. Beautiful machine, if anybody gets one. And it had so many knots and crotches within this piece. She wanted 2 bowls if it was possible, one potentially uniform, one potentially live edge, or 2 uniform if I couldn't get a live edge out of it. So I said, no problem, I'll take it home, I'll see what I can do. And of course it's wet, so I had to dry it slowly to keep it from warping excessively and cracking excessively. So this is the uniform bowl. It has a lot of figure and curl and swirl
Yeah, it
within
does.
it. This was
is.
here it is there. A lot of many things I see within it.
That's
I'm sure
beautiful, man.
Mhm.
That is
Brenda
That's
sees
beautiful.
pretty.
a couple things as
Yeah, I
well.
see it.
Oh,
I see a
there's
bird.
guy with a little mustache. See here.
Yeah.
Here's his mustache. So this was round, and you can see how much it warped here when it sits flat. But I mean, that adds character.
That's
You
cool.
didn't want something
I love
crooked.
it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The knot did fall out. It was quite punky and spongy and half rotten in a couple places. So I had to stabilize it as I went, as I turned, bag it so it doesn't dry up and move too much on my lathe. Come back to it, turn it. But I turned both of them. Well, I mean, this one took under an hour. The other one took maybe an hour, with all the stabilizing and. But this popped out when I was sanding, and I thought, should I leave it? Should I fill it with epoxy? And then I thought, well, fill it with epoxy. It can work out. It can be a mess. It can be a headache. It's a lot of work for what you'll get out of it. So I thought, no, leave it. It adds character to the piece. It won't hold soup, but it'll hold your fruits, and it'll be a nice display piece within the house.
Yep.
So here's the outside. Yeah, it adds sculptural to it. Here I almost see a bull or a bear. Everybody sees many different things.
The
But there's
bulldog with
so
a
much-
cat.
So much. There's almost a dragon
Who
or
said that?
something coming
Eddie?
out of there.
There's a puffer fish in
Was
there
that
too.
Eddie that's seen a cat?
Yeah, or
A cat?
sit next to the bulldog right there. Look.
Oh my goodness.
Right there.
Yeah.
Look at Eddie's seeing things.
Brenda, you've had an
Yeah.
influence on him.
And as it dried, a lot of this ripple really warped with the bowl, so it adds texture to the overall piece. At first I was like, should I sand it, make it smooth? But then I thought, no, that adds character. That gives it more of a textile feel, some texture, some more of a voice when you pick it up to hold it and handle it. So that's the uniform bowl. There's the bottom.
Love it. Love
And
it.
in the live edge bowl, I used the bigger side. And here it is
Oh
here.
my.
Sweet.
Wow.
Wow.
Beautiful.
And
Jumping. Wow.
that comes around.
That's
No
nice.
holes or knots or anything in this one. And we just turn it here. I like the contrast between the heart and the sapwood. This also has a lot of curl in it, which made it rippled, which again adds texture. Here's the inside.
Wow.
You can see all the
I love that
crotches
crotch
coming
flame
together
down in there.
That is gorgeous.
and all the curl.
And that's beautiful. Boy.
They were dried slowly. I have a garbage bag here full of shavings and sawdust from my bandsaw mixed together. And I would put these in the bag, leave them for days, come back, take them out, leave them on my lathe for an hour or two, shake up the bag, move the shavings around, put them in again for about a couple days. Every time I took them out, I looked for cracks. Because as we know, fruit woods and as wood dries, especially fruit woods, even though I have a very uniform wall thickness on this, all the way down to the base and the foot, this is all the same wall thickness. It still warps being a fruit wood under a lot of stress with all those branches and knots and roots. So they're more likely to warp and twist and crack. So you need to dry it slowly. There's many methods. We've talked about them I think I've talked about them several times, but this one I used was a bag with shavings and sawdust in it. Every time I took it out, I would check those cracks and I would fill them or stabilize them with super glue to avoid them from cracking more. I would put it back in, allow it to dry. Now, I don't take sawdust of the same wood and fill the crack because it amplifies the crack as a crack and a crack's a defect. But what I like to do is I like to make a feature out of the crack. So a few months ago, I was contacted by a fur trader who brought me some walrus tusk, which isn't actually a tusk, it's their canine tooth, and it's not endangered and protected, so I can have it, I can possess it, I can make stuff out of it, and I can sell it. It's costly to acquire, but it's very nice to have. So whenever I work with bone or stone or stabilized colored woods, I always keep some of these dollar store containers. So when you get dollar store glue, I keep these little containers and I fill them with the colored stabilized wood or the dust or the walrus tusk bone. So this piece here, that crack and that void is filled with walrus tusk bone. Just as a accent or a visual accent rather than just filling it with apple dust to accentuate and magnify the crack as a defect. I made it more of a feature by using a color or a dye or a bone or gold or silver technique to make it more of a feature than a defect.
Yeah, a good story to go with it.
Yeah, thanks. So I just put a piece, I showed this in Martin's meeting and it didn't show the grain too well because it was quite dry from being in the bags. But today I put on a coat of tung oil. I wiped it off and I allowed it to dry for a few hours before the meeting.
Nice.
So those are those two bowls that will be done, and it's a surprise for his wife. He contacted me behind her back, had me arrive while she was at a doctor's appointment. He said, "You got an hour. You got to do this. Get the stuff out of here. Clean up the shavings. Do what sawing you need to do, and then sneak it back in so it's a Christmas gift." So it'll be
He is gonna love that.
Very cool. Very cool.
Be well received.
Thanks for sharing.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
This Saturday is another wood turning interactive Saturday surgery. If anyone's interested, all the information's in the chat. That's all I'll say about it. Thanks, everyone.
Cool.
Right on. Thank you, Kate. All right. Let's go to Joaquin.
Yes, sir. Hi. I got a little story to go with the piece before I'm going to show it. Down here on the Gulf Coast, we're subject to hurricanes. I've been through several: Hurricane Carla, Beulah, and Cynthia. In 2017, we had Harvey come through, and I was thinking about the boys I met at SWAT from Florida. And Samaritan Purse come in here, was helping out. Rockport was almost wiped out on the north side of us. And Samaritan Purse come in here, and they were sponsored with First Baptist Church. Well, a lot of y'all know Wendy Nave. She's the Mesquite lady, showed up at SWAT. And they contacted her and wanted to know if she could come up with some kind of presentation for these people. It's Franklin Graham and all them. They're doing all this work down here with volunteers. And she come up with this logo, this bow, with the hurricane icon.
Oh.
And she calls me up
cool.
and says, "Joaquin, I've got 34 orders for these and I can't do them and I need some help." And so I went over there and she gave me some wood, and all the wood is harvested from the hurricane, you know. We're not using any kind of wood we got stored or anything. And we come up with this logo. It says, I don't know how you can see it very good.
There you go, right there.
State of Texas
Harvey,
there with the heart on it and the year. And so
nice.
yeah, and so then the year anniversary come along and people are wanting more of them. I really got tired of making these things, and I thought it was kind of morbid. People wanted things as a souvenir for Hurricane Harvey, but what all they went through, you know, is pretty bad. It was really bad over there. And so I thought maybe the boys down there in Florida might be interested in doing something like this, and as commemorative or even selling or whatever. And of course, just start out with a board about that's 12 by 8, 2 inches thick. And you want to Don't ask me how I know this, but anyway, either a face plate or a screw, and you want to take all the wood off, put your bottom on here and tenon, then cut it out on the bandsaw. You don't want to cut this out in that shape on the bandsaw, because you may end up with something like this, where the wings come off. Of course, you could come up with one like this.
That's
Finger
the
bowl.
eye. That's the eye of the storm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joaquin, that was so nice of you to do those for instruction for us. Thank you.
Yeah, I just thought somebody over there might be, or anybody on the Gulf Coast might be interested in doing something like this. Those hurricanes are devastating. We all know that. We know what Eddie went through. And so I just wanted to share that. Knowing the boys,
Joaquin,
yeah.
that needs to go into the recovery room after you fill it and return it. The eye of the storm. You can fill that with an epoxy.
Yeah.
With the darker wood, and it look awesome.
Yeah, that's a good
A
idea.
little red.
Make a
Make
pedestal.
it
You just hadn't
like
finished
the,
that.
Into a pedestal bulb.
Could do that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Joaquin will be the eye of the tiger.
Long
Joaquin,
way from that, guys. Yeah.
can you hold up the spalted pecan? Can you hold that up and then give the
This is spalted.
the synopsis on that, because pecan doesn't look like that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Wendy
nice.
cut this one down, and it was grown up. It grew up by a septic tank, outside septic tank, and the whole tree looked like that, just not part of it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Wow.
So I had to keep a piece of that for myself.
Yeah, right.
Gorgeous piece of wood.
Yeah,
Indeed.
sure it is.
Very nice. Yeah.
Wow.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Joaquin.
You bet.
All right. Let's go to, let's see, Howard. Last but not least. We got you.
Save the best for.
Oh, okay.
We got you.
I would have to follow Cade. I tell you, I guess after listening to him, I don't think I would turn wood or anything anymore. But I had a little.
Well, you must have slept through Joaquin.
Well, Joaquin, he's one of the best. No doubt about that. Had some trees had to cut down, and they cut down a little box elder in order to get a bigger tree down. And so I tucked up something. So I'm not sure exactly what I call this. It's not exactly a vase or a goblet, or
I
it's
think,
kind of a hollow.
you can just call it beautiful. You did a great job on it.
I agree. Yes.
That's gorgeous, Howard.
Very nice.
Very gorgeous.
I love it.
So anyway, that's what it looks like. I guess that, I don't know what that looks like.
We
But
didn't
anyway.
know what
Looks like
box
a rabbit.
down here, Howard.
It's like a
There we
fox.
go.
Looks like a rabbit there
Yeah,
now.
Yeah, there,
Yeah.
yeah, it's a rabbit, isn't
Or it
Yeah.
could be a squirrel giving you the finger.
it?
Or a donkey putting his head over the fence.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, it's
That's cool.
I
Yeah,
just
I think I'm seeing things.
I don't
I
even
need
need to
some.
comment anymore.
I need some, whatever it is, I need it.
Got a lovely
What you done,
shape to
Brenda?
it.
Gorgeous.
okay. All right.
All
Thank you.
right. Thanks, Howard.
Beautiful.
All right.
Very nice.
Let's go back to Captain Eddie for closing ceremonies.
Oh, we've seen it tonight, hadn't we?
Yeah,
That's
we sure have.
Gorgeous piece of wood that Joaquin had just now. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was.
we just saw it's what we've seen some beautiful work tonight, and some beautiful techniques in how to get things done. And we look for you members to just that. Show us what you've done, how you've done it, what your finishes are, how you cut it out. I mean, just like Joaquin said, you do this, you cut the wings out, and that's a tip that I'll be looking at the shortcut. I'd be out there cutting them all out and hoping they don't fall apart. Well, first thing you do is make sure they don't fall apart before you cut them out. So we're learning some of these shortcuts and tips and put them all to use. if you got something like that, would like you to share with us. And right now we're up at about 64, 65 people this late at night. Meeting number 206. We own a tailgate. We still got plenty of room. You got a friend, invite them to the meeting. And if you have any questions or ideas of what we should do or should not do, we have spoke about formatting these meetings a little bit differently. Then we got away from it. Why? Because we're just sitting on a tailgate chatting, having a good time. And we rely on you to give us that information. Come on, bring us more stuff. Show us what you come up with. And what you come up with is fantastic. It's not a week go by where I don't end up with a page of notes and ideas that coming out the yin yang as to what we can come up with in this place. And you do that really good. I mean, you make me so proud of this because I came to my wood turning friends and I said, I'm going to take all the politics off the table. Just you and me. Let's talk wood turning. And there you are. Every Wednesday night, we talk wood turning. Boy, this is really nice. Check out our website. If you need something to share, or if you have something to share, you can send it on to us. We put it all there. It's the world's greatest wood turning website done by Dave Rhodes, our webmaster. And we take care of things. It's almost instantaneously. We take care of things. Don't forget to turn on some Freedom Pens. And because those people are doing things to protect our freedom, it's worldwide. We're trying to collect some for the Marines right now. And that information is in the chat tonight of Sergeant Private Pepper on who to send the pens to. But on our website is a list of all the folks that we have that will handle distributing our Freedom Pens to our troops. And if you've got somebody like that that you'd like us to contact, send us the information. It's not exclusive. It's all fair. It's all equal. Cade just now said he's got an IRD coming up. They call it a surgery. It's when you got the queen and all this stuff involved, or the king. It's they change the titles. But all that's in our chat. So we'll go to Australia each week and ask Don Masterson, what do you recommend we do? And Don tells us straight up.
I had it changed to save the chat.
Save the chat. That's right. Go to the chat and save it. And we'll put the saved chat on our website, but you'll have it right there. I had mine from last week right off the bat because there was some names and numbers and stuff that I wanted to have. I wanted to have access to. And unlike any other club in the world, everything we do and everything we save, everything we have, all the demonstrations, all the meetings, all the chats, all that stuff is available for you 24/7 on our website. Yeah, that's right. Everything. It costs you nothing but your involvement. And we thank you for being part of that. I'll see you next week back here on the tailgate. Until then, in the words of Safety Sue, be safe.